bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, what's going on? Happy New Year's Eve. It's your boy Chris Avalon. Welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news and hot topics. So if that's a show that you are relatively interested in and that's the thing that you like, please do me a favor and stick around. And also, if you can, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And yeah, it's a slow news day, so we got a couple of topics we're gonna get into, and then I decided to remix and add some things up in there. So we got some more tea on this whole Blake Lively situation, because yesterday I was wondering how they obtained them texts. Well, child, I found out how they got them texts. So we're gonna talk about it. Plus, there's a show called English Teacher that's been a huge hit, I know, on social media and stuff. So apparently, one of the stars and creators of the show, Brian Jordan Alvarez, has been accused of SA. So Justin Baldoni not the only one around here being accused of SA and uncomfortable job situations. So we're gonna get into that. Plus, Jodie Turner-Smith is going in on Joshua Jackson, said that Pacey ain't out here paying his child support since they got a divorce. So we got to talk about that. Plus, PK Kemsley, some Beverly Hills Housewives news, is saying that Dorit, he's upset with her over her calling him a full-blown alcoholic on national television. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we got some tea on Mariah Carey. She may have herself a new man. Wendy Williams' son, Lil Kev, is giving an update on his mother. Jaleel White is clarifying those controversial comments that he made not too long ago, and we talked about it on the show in regards to him basically saying that people don't favor Family Matters highly on their black sitcom list because it's not hood. So we're going to talk about that. He stuck his foot further in his damn mouth talking about that. Plus, we're going to talk about Madonna and her influence on well, we already know her influence on pop culture and stuff, but we want to talk about her being an AIDS activist and how she was out here on the front lines and doing it when it wasn't a chic thing to do, which now everybody pretty much is a chic thing to do with HIV and AIDS and stuff. But Madonna was at the forefront of it as one of the pop stars, I should say. I was at the forefront of it when it wasn't popular. Because Elizabeth Taylor, I want to give her flowers too. She was out here fighting the good fight long before Madonna was. So, but Liz is an actress. She's not a pop singer. So, I want to get into that. Plus, Billboard, Associated Press, Rolling Stone, Variety, EW. It seemed like all the big wigs are pretty much had Brat and Beyonce and their albums, Brat and Cowboy Carter, I should say, as their best albums of 2024. And speaking of which, I'm going to let y'all know my best albums of 2024. I put that together earlier. So we're going to go through that. And I want y'all to also chime in as a class and let me know what were your favorite albums of 2024. And we got to get into the worst songs of 2024 because I didn't see many worst albums of 2024. And I'm getting to the point where I just find it a little lame to kind of do the worst album thing. I might just bring that up in the conversation in passing. But there was some shitty songs that came out this year. We're going to talk about it as I sip my tea. So yes. So we have that and a whole lot more. But like I said earlier, if you're just now chiming in, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Let me hit that banner. Let's see who's in here. He said, "Good morning, team. Alan Boyman got a good." Yeah, I heard about that. That he's in the clear. And that Russ movie is going to come out and all that other stuff, but I just don't know who in their right mind is going to go see this movie. I mean, I understand maybe people will go and want to see Russ out of curiosity to see if all the hubbub, Helena getting accidentally shot by the bullet, there shouldn't have been no real bullets in the gun anyway. It should have always been, should have been a cold gun. But with him doing all of this other stuff, I'm just wondering, like, I just think like the curiosity people are only going to be the ones to see this one. I don't care to see Rust. I don't want to see it. I don't care. I mean, I like Westerns, but this movie, I don't know. Maybe I need to see a trailer to be curious, but still, I don't even know if I would want to see this movie, honestly. Robert also says it's also chic to be a gay icon, but with our rights being taken away, I want them to put their money where their heart is. I know Madonna won't let us down when shit hits the fan, but I'm looking at Gaga, Miley, Demi, and all the pop stars today that's supposed to be a gay. Yeah, don't only come in, don't come and be a gay icon when it's safe to do so. You got to stand up when you feel like you don't give a damn if your career's at risk. That it's like, oh, my fans will support me regardless. Like I don't have to worry about. Okay, well, so what? This corporation, that corporation is not going to put me in their situation and give me money. Like I want to really see if y'all going to step y'all pussies up when the itch hits the fan. But we'll see. So, without further ado, let's get into our first topic. And let's talk the rest on this whole Blake Lively situation, because I saw they did a whole list of all the things that had happened to Justin Baldoni. I don't find that entertaining. I find all this other stuff, more salacious stuff, entertaining. We don't need to go down a laundry list. Oh, the people that dropped him. I'm like, who cares? Like, it seems like a lot of y'all get off on that. But so y'all already know, if you haven't heard already, then I'll inform you that, Blake Lively recently caused a stir by filing a legal complaint against her It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni, accusing him of harassment and attempting to launch a smear campaign against her on social media through leaked text messages. So yesterday when I was going through that long-winded topic, because it was a lot that was coming out, and then people were commenting, and then I saw one of her co-stars, which happened after I signed off on the show, came out and was like, y'all need to just read the stuff and read between the lines. So I guess he co-signed it with Blake too. And as I said before, you know what? Just because Blake is a see you next Tuesday most of the time, don't necessarily mean that she deserves to be ridiculed and dragged and treated like, crap. And for this man to try to use her previous reputation of being a see you next Tuesday as a way to justify his misogyny and the harassment and all the other stuff that he was doing on the show. So we can look at both sides of the coin without automatically jumping into the misogyny and being like, oh, well, she's a bitch, so she deserves everything she gets. I'm sure all them other times when she was a nuisance on set, that if she was a nuisance set towards whoever, that she could go off and cuss people out and be a nightmare and all that other mess and go at them in that way. But in this situation, it's like, I try to look at both sides of the situation. So yesterday I was wondering, and I felt like they were being a little vague with the answer, and I didn't feel like I got a full-fledged answer on it. So I was wondering, how did Blake's lawyers get their little slithery hands on those jaw-dropping texts? Because I was like, how they get them texts? And the way it was coming about, it was just like, oh, you need to read between the I ain't got time to read between those lines. I need y'all to give me the tea. But I feel like there was somebody who was being shady that worked over at I was trying to remember what the name of the agency is, but I think it was Stephanie Jones, who runs the agency. I believe her shady behind had something to do with them texts getting in the hands of Blake and her team, her legal team, because she had discovered that the publicist that worked for her by the name of Jen Abel was planning on leaving to start her own rival agency, and she probably was going to take some of them clients with her. So this feels like this was some scorned female behind the scenes stuff that was going on, and for her to get her revenge, she decided, oh, I'm gonna give you a freebie so that way to keep your ass here to my Blake and don't jump ship over there. So I'm gonna give you this stuff to use against Justin. So Variety has all the tea. So let's get into it. So it says, on August 21st, Jones Works founder Stephanie Jones called publicist Jen Abel into the office. The two women had been in the thick of a grueling crisis PR campaign on behalf of client Justin Baldoni, the It Ends With Us director, and the subject of an incessant media coverage thanks to a mysterious rift with the film star Blake Lively. But Jones wasn't looking to strategize over the latest headlines. Instead, Abel was met by a security guard and an attorney and handed a document to sign and told to relinquish her phone. Jones had caught wind of the fact that Abel had poised to leave and start her own firm. Now, Jones Works had been hemorrhaging star clients like Dwayne Johnson and Jeff Bezos over the past year. Now, 6 days earlier, Business Insider published an unflattering investigation into Jones that was months in the works and noted when employees did leave, Jones did not always let them go easily. 4 months earlier, the contents of Abel's phone were laid bare in a New York Times story, and complaint filed by Lively against Baldoni with the California Civil Rights Department, accusing Baldoni of sexual harassment and embarking on a smear campaign against her. Now, one element of the story that has fascinated legal observers is how Lively's attorneys obtained Abel's text messages, in which she and other members of Baldoni's PR team talk about how to bury Lively. Now, those messages typically would never see the light of day, or if they did, it would only be after years of litigation and discovery. Now, her lawyer stated in the filing that Ms. Lively obtained the communications set forth in this complaint through legal process, including a civil subpoena, but did not identify the source. So I'm sitting here wondering how the hell they getting all these subpoenas and things. And they went and denied, well, according to the attorney, they said that there was no subpoena that was put forth. So somebody up in here is lying. So now on Monday, Lively's lawyers said that they obtained the messages through a subpoena to Jones Works LLC. Brian Friedman, who represents Abel, Baldoni, crisis publicist Melissa Nathan, Baldoni's Wayfarer Studios, and others involved in the case, noted that none of his clients were subpoenaed over the matter. He said he planned to sue Jones. And I said, if this is true, what she was doing, this shady mess behind the scenes, I say clean her ass out. Now, if all the text messages were produced in that subpoena, then Lively's team knows the true facts of what actually happened and did not happen, according to Friedman. The truth is completely different than what has been portrayed in the complaint that we know, and they know that, sorry. The complete set of text messages unequivocally show that there was no smear campaign initiated at all, which is why certain texts are incomplete and other texts, which tell the truth, are purposely excluded. Well, I say lay it all out then. Freeman has invited Variety to review the complete trove of texts and emails written by his clients with regards to their handling of the campaign, and to come to your own conclusion. I will open it all up to show the complete truth. Now, Jones's attorney countered that she is being made a scapegoat in the affair for having simply responded to the subpoena, saying, quote, desperate to shift attention away from the disgraceful sliming of Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni's team is doubling down on their smears by going after someone who had nothing whatsoever to do with this ugly campaign, said the attorney, Kristen Toller, a partner at Quinn Emanuel. Now, having pushed Steph Jones out of her long-standing business with Baldoni, Jen Abel and Melissa Nathan are now looking to scapegoat Steph for having the temerity to respond to a court-ordered subpoena. Unfortunately for them, Steph won't be bullied, even by paternalistic threats of being sued into oblivion. To quote Nathan herself, it just shows you have SIC. People really want to hate on women. So now we're making this a gender thing, because I feel like if y'all don't jump in here with the big boys and play in these pools or whatever, why are we trying to use it? Oh, they just want to come after women. They just want to destroy women, because us men don't say that to each other. Oh, you're just trying to destroy me because I'm a man. But maybe then again, I guess we don't have to go into that, because men are always put at the forefront, and women and men don't have to fight as hard. But I would say white men don't have to fight as hard, because the rest of us do. Now, they say California law does not allow for pre-litigation discovery in certain circumstances. The reason for that is there are some occasions where if you don't have some basic factual evidence, you may not know whether or not you're going to file, said Nicole Page, a partner at RHOBH Page Jump LLP. You may need that information to make the decision. Now, the sprawling case puts a spotlight on crisis publicists who typically remain behind the scenes, but have become the story here, with 4 separate agencies engulfed in the spectacle. While Jones is never mentioned in Lively's complaint, another firm, Tag PR, is, with its founder Nathan mentioned 88 times. Now, in the days ahead of It Ends With Us, August 9th release date, speculation exploded on social media about a feud between Lively and Baldoni, with observers noting that the actor had stopped following her director on Instagram. Excuse me. While Baldoni continued to work with Jones Works, the firm brought in Nathan and Tag, a company backed by Scooter Braun, whose clients include Drake, Travis Scott, and Rebel Wilson. I would have said Ariana Grande, but she fired him. But anyway, now Jones is the one person known to have had possession of Abel's phone after parting ways with her subordinate. Some observers say it's telling that Jones is not mentioned in Lively's complaint, even though she too engaged in efforts to boost her client's standing in the feud with his star. In an added tangle, Jones is married to Jason Hodes, a partner of the town. Hold on. Jones is married to Jason Hodes, a partner at the talent agency WME, which reps Lively, and her husband, Child. Now it's all looking like, Blake, are you being messy? Because now it's like, oh, you didn't mention this chick in your case, and she probably helped you out because her husband is a person that reps you and your husband at his agency. So there's ties in there somewhere. So she left you out because of the connection of the who's repping you and the agency that you're a part of. So you probably was doing a little shenanigans and tomfoolery to help her in her violation against Justin. And this all to me seems like it's linking up to the fact that one of the people that worked at the agency was planning on leaving and you were bitter. Not Blake, but Jones. She was bitter and she doesn't like the fact when people leave her agencies. So she's going to make life a living hell for these people. So your ego is why we all up in, I mean, even though, you know what, things, I'm sure, well, I can't say I'm sure because I don't know, I wasn't there. But like, if situations did happen where Justin Baldoni was being disrespectful and making it an uncomfortable and a hostile work environment for Blake, that would be a reason for her to file. But for her to play this messy and get these other people involved who have an axe to grind with other people and it's starting this whole tangled web, I don't know how that's. I can't. So off the top of my head, I can't say that it doesn't necessarily look good because there's probably a way she can get around that. But in so many ways, I don't know. It probably isn't gonna look good because then it's like, oh well, you got this information in a messy kind of way. But then still, because Hollywood is Hollywood, and now they're so scared to go around and do any little thing, Justin probably still gonna get punished. And they're gonna be like, well, regardless of, you know, even though she went through some shady tactics to get this information, Justin's still gonna get dragged down to the floor and have his career ruined because there may have been some situations that went on behind the scenes where he made the work environment hostile. It's like me trying to understand and unpack all this and analyze it in my brain in real time. Because this is the first time I'm reading this article. Actually, I read a little bit of it in the beginning, but I didn't read all this article. Like I read like maybe the first couple of paragraphs, but now that I'm getting down to the meat of it, I'm like, well, damn, maybe I should have read this whole thing earlier so I could have had a better grasp on it. But this is like me just off the top of my head, just trying to analyze what's happening here. So they also said that WME also represented Baldoni, but dropped him as a client after the complaint was filed. So in an email Jones sent to several Wayfair executives on August 14th, viewed in its entirety by Variety, Jones wrote that Baldoni should prepare alternate stories. We should mobilize a robust network of supporters and third-party advocates ready to counter these narratives on deep background, as well as some on the record, making it clear that the claims being made are untrue and unfounded. So Lively's team filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department. The state agency can neither launch its own investigation or issue a right to sue letter that allows plaintiffs to file a civil suit or a suit in civil court. Complaints to the agency typically are not made public unless the complaint chooses to do so. Now, the CRD declined to comment on the case to protect its integrity. We're unable to comment on even or to confirm or deny a potential ongoing investigation. This is what the agency spokesperson said. Now, Lively's complaint states claims of sexual harassment and retaliation and alleges that the PR campaign waged against her was payback for her initial harassment complaints. So, yeah, that's the latest that we have on this situation. And I'm going to look at some of the comments. Robert says to learn the publicity agency is kind of owned by Scooter Braun. That's a red flag, of course, especially with his tanglings with Taylor Swift and that whole situation. So That's also messy, and Taylor was dragged into this situation, into into the lawsuit actually. And it said people are saying Ryan needs to divorce Blake because if she goes down, guess who's also going down due to the hatred of Blake Lively? Well, I don't know. I don't think Ryan Reynolds will be affected by this because Ryan Reynolds, in my opinion, has a whole different fan base versus Blake Lively. It's like Blake Lively has part of her own fan base with the girlies and all that stuff. The Deadpool, the Wolverine, the boy fans are, or the guys are more or less big on Ryan Reynolds because of Deadpool and Wolverine. And to be honest, I can't think of any other movies that he's done that he stood out. But well, Free Guy was actually good. So I guess anytime he collaborates with the guy who I can't remember his name at the top of my head, the director of Deadpool and Wolverine and Free Guy, and he's done other movies too. He did this other movie with this little kid. I forget his name, but it was on. I think it went straight to Netflix. But he's done a couple of really cool movies or whatever. So now it's funny. I said I couldn't think of anything outside of Deadpool, and I just named a bunch of movies. But I would just say, like, I don't think it will affect Ryan Reynolds. I think Ryan Reynolds does have his own career. Ryan Reynolds is somebody he's going to take a break for a while because he wants to spend time with them 4 kids that he decided to put up in Blake Lively. So he wants to he wants to be more involved at home with being a dad and watching the kids grow up and stuff. And that's cool. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I don't think Ryan Reynolds is going to divorce Blake Lively. I don't see that happening. And Onyx says, and is Blake Lively that much of a public enemy? She's a pretty girl with an attitude. Well, yeah, we do definitely get that from her. Like she does give she gives me very much that, oh, you're a condescending cunt um in in real life. On movie sets, because she'd be the type that I'd be like, okay, bitch, you try me, I'm gonna cuss your ass out. But then she might file a complaint against me. You know how them Karens are, and she's giving very much Karen with this. I hope that this is the last time a Colleen Hoover turns. Well, I wonder if they're actually going to give a sequel to this movie because I've been hearing so much about this movie, but a lot of people said that the movie's not even all that great. So, um, after all this drama that's come out, I still don't care enough to see it. But anyway, I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I was like, I want to jump in the comments and see what the people are saying in there because it's like, you know, um, oh, you said this. You said in the corner popcorn planet, not Samantha Jones. Well, remember, Samantha Jones was a publicist over there on Sex and the City. So is that what you're trying to refer to her as Samantha Jones? I mean, Stephanie Jones. But I was like, yeah, Samantha Jones was a publicist on Sex and the City. But anyway, so you said she's been trying to destroy independent media for siding with Johnny Depp. Well, you can't control how people, you publicists, no shade, but a lot of y'all ain't even worth it anymore because the way that the narrative is being controlled, I feel like it's social media and things. You can't control how social media responds to things. So if she has this axe to grind, girl, you're gonna be out here windmilling nothing but air because it ain't gonna help. So she could be bitter all she wants, but it seems like that's kind of the energy she gives anyway, based on the article that she always has like an axe to grind. It's like, girl, okay, well, keep swinging at the air because you're just gonna keep stressing yourself out. So yeah, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Blake and Justin Baldoni? I will be keeping abreast of the story as it develops. But in the meantime, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Okay. I said, hold on, because let me run up to what Onyx said earlier, because I was like, I didn't want to put that in the other segment because it had nothing to do with the topic we was talking about. We said Demi is nowhere near an icon. Who the hell said she was an icon? Demi is nowhere near an icon. If Gen Z didn't grow up with Hannah Montana, Miley wouldn't be eating. Wait, what did I miss? Y'all, who's calling Demi Lovato and who put Miley Cyrus on the list as an icon of anything? There's no shade. I feel like that with that album, what was it, Bangers? I feel like that was her only big album. Our other albums really have not been able to match the success of Bangers. And then she coming out with this other album. that it sounded like she was smoking a lot of ayahuasca and shroom and taking shrooms, putting that together based off the description. You said messy, especially when they all sold the movie and made sure it made money in spite of the drama. Did it even make money? I don't even know, like, if it made money or not. If it did, let me know in the comments. Because I'm like, I've heard people talk about, all I knew about the film was the drama that was surrounding it. That's all I knew. Okay, so now let's go from one sexual harassment story to another. And let's get into this English teacher's story. So I don't know if y'all ever seen this show, but I've heard, I mean, I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. There's so many shows that's on TV that I be trying to keep track of. So it gets really difficult to try to catch up on shows. But yeah, English Teacher came out this year. I know it's a big hit over on, I don't know if it's played on other, like any other network type stuff, but I know it's on Hulu and I have it saved in this situation. So one of these days, when it's slow and I got time, I do want to watch the show because I've heard great things about it. And I like Abbott Elementary. So they're saying, like, if you like Abbott Elementary, you could definitely check this show out because it's like pretty funny. It's a good show and all this other stuff. So I said, one of these days I'm gonna check it out. But then the story, why this story piqued my interest, because they talking about Brian Jordan Alvarez has been accused of a little sexual assault. So there's some essays and stuff going on around here. And I'm not talking about, the Mexican term. I'm not talking about essay. I'm talking about SA, sexual assault. So Brian Jordan Alvarez, the creator and star of the acclaimed comedy series English Teacher, have been accused of SA. Now, it said abling. Wait, I guess I should have put down who's abling, because I didn't put down what his first name is, but I guess it's somebody who worked on the show. I guess it's the guy in the picture on the right. So Abeling alleges that Alvarez, who's 37, SA'd him while they worked together on the digital series The Gay and Wonderful Life of Caleb Gallo, which aired on YouTube back in 2016. Now, funny enough, I think maybe I'm more interested in watching stuff because I'm like, wait, Brian Jordan Alvarez is a homosexual? I was like, oh, this might be an interesting show to watch now, especially when it comes to the gays. But with this whole situation, I'm like, I don't know. So now Abeling claims he filed a police report of the incident and reported Alvarez to the Screen Actors Guild the day before English Teacher premiered, according to Vulture. Now they start alongside Stephanie Koenig, who also co-stars with Alvarez in The English Teacher. Abeling claims the web series mirrored the real-life relationship, saying a major plot point is a sexual encounter between Caleb and Billy that occurs after Billy and Karen have sex for the first time. It is a nearly beat for beat reenactment of what transpired among the three actors off set, according to Vulture. Avalon claims that he was pressured by Alvarez to have sex with him, alleging that Alvarez sexually assaulted him while they were shooting the scene for the show. Now, Alvarez has denied the allegations and said their interactions were entirely consensual in a statement to the Wrap. Now, Vulture's article detailed Alvarez and Abeling's fallout, with Abeling recalling two incidents in which he claimed he was assaulted by Alvarez, one in 2015 and one on set in 2016. Now, Abeling recalled the alleged on-set incident. I'm assuming nobody on set knows what's going on under the comforter, and I'm just frozen. I don't know what to do. I'm on set with my director who was assaulting me. It was a horrible feeling. I was like, wait a second. I didn't consent to this. We didn't talk about this. I was R-worded. Well, what did he do? And the same thing of like when they was asking about Willem on that season of RuPaul Drag Race, what did Willem do? What did he do? Now, a spokesperson for Alvarez told the Wrap that Brian Jordan Alvarez's interactions with John Abeling were always entirely consensual, as numerous witnesses have attested. Now, indeed, in 2018, 2 years after the alleged incident, Mr. Abeling himself unambiguously said as much on tape. For many months, Mr. Abeling had peddled his falsehoods to anyone who would listen, but when confronted with proof of his duplicity and definitive evidence provided by a third party showing why Mr. Abeling should be trusted, numerous media outlets declined to print his outrageous claims. Now, English Teacher is a comedy drama series that premiered on FX in September 2024. Okay, so now I know what it is. And now it was on FX, but it's now on, because I was like, I have Hulu. So FX does come on, Hulu as well. So that's how I would That's the way I'll see the show then. Now they said the show centers on Evan. I said even. On around Evan Marquez, a high school English teacher in Austin, Texas, played by Alvarez. Despite the show's popularity, it has yet to be renewed for a second season. Now, an FX spokesperson told the Daily Beast regarding the allegations said that we reviewed the allegations presented to us by another media outlet prior to the show's launch. Mr. Eberling never reached out to us with any concerns. We will have no further comment at this time. Now, A-List Teacher was recently recognized as one of the best television series of the year by the New York Times and has a 98% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The show also has several nominations at both the upcoming Critics' Choice and Independent Spirit Awards. Now, Alvarez is nominated for Best Lead Performance at the Indie Spirits, alongside acclaimed actors like Julianne Moore, Hiroyuki Sanada, and Lily Gladstone. He's also nominated for Best Actor at the Critics' Choice Awards, alongside the likes of David Alan Grier and Martin Short. Now, Koenig, because that's how they was saying Walter Koenig from Star Trek. That's how we know how to say that last name. Who was dating Eberling at the time of the alleged assault, is also nominated for her supporting performance. Now, she and Eberling split after she allegedly interpreted what happened between Eberling and Alvarez as cheating, according to Vulture. Now, according to Eberling, Koenig and their mutual friend sided with Alvarez, dismissing his allegations as jealousy over Alvarez's success. So, this is messy. And as I said before, I have not seen this show, but I definitely want to check it out because I've heard nothing but great things about the show. But it says it's set at Morrison Hensley High School. English teacher follows Marquez as he finds himself at the intersection of the professional, political, and personal aspects of working at a high school. He joins the rest of the school faculty who are struggling to connect and form a bond with their Gen Z students. Also at Morrison Hensley High is his best friend, Gwen Sanders, an optimistic and played by Koenig, an optimistic and personable history teacher. Now, English Teacher is currently available to stream on Hulu. The Gay and Wondrous Life of Caleb Gallo is available to stream on YouTube. So this is the latest. This show actually came out. I didn't even realize this. This show actually came out on September 2nd, which is my birthday. So it's been out. It's been getting rave reviews. People like it. And FX has yet to renew it. Meanwhile, y'all keep giving Ryan Murphy shows a green light. And he been serving y'all mediocrity for the past 7-8 seasons of his show. Except Grotesquerie. Grotesquerie is only one season, but I'm talking about American Horror Story. So if y'all can celebrate mediocrity of a season with one homosexual, you can give this other one. Well, I don't know if he's a homosexual. I mean, he might be. I mean, if he is good Judy's with the girlfriend of the man he allegedly SA'd on this set, I don't know if I don't think it mentioned in the story that he had messed around with a girl. He's only been messing around with men. So I'm assuming he's a homosexual. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters is if this story is true, then definitely we need to hold Brian's feet to the fire, and he needs to be, held to the full extent of, the allegations, and he should not be allowed to work in Hollywood. But there needs to be, like we said, evidence of the sort. But if FX vetted it and was like that, there's no evidence of any of this stuff, and there was no story brought to us from John, then our investigation is done, and we just gonna move forward. We move forward with. So maybe it is a situation that you're just mad because, or envious because your ex basically sided with Brian, and now her career is thriving, and he's on the sidelines being bitter. It could be that. And sometimes when people do get bitter, they do things that they're not supposed to be doing. We're not going to sit up here and act like we don't have a bunch of white women out here doing Emmett Till type stuff where y'all going out here making up lies about people and getting them put in trouble because you're mad about something. You got some deep-rooted trauma that you want to take on another person. So that's the latest on that. Wait, hold on. I don't want to take that out. I wanted to get rid of this. So that's the latest on that. I will follow the story as it develops, but I want to hear from you guys what you think of this story. Whatever your thoughts are, have you seen English Teacher? And do you believe the allegations that was brought forth in regards of the show's creator and star? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay. You said 300. That movie made $350 million. Where the hell was I? That must have been a sleeper. Because I don't know anybody that saw that film. So then I guess a sequel would be coming, but they would have to figure something out and not have um Justin a part of it. They'd have to do like a whole swap with a new actor and have them up in there. Child, let's get into this mess. Okay, so now Jodie Turner-Smith is throwing shade at Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Well, he done moved on. He got a new job, which is why I don't understand why he can't be out here paying his child support. Because if you got a new job, speaking of Ryan Murphy, because he is one of my Ryan Murphy shows. What is it called, Mr. Odyssey or whatever the case? I haven't seen the show yet, but I know it's over there on the networks. It's on Fox. I haven't seen the show, so I don't know if it's good or not. I have thought about checking it out, but according to Jodie Turner-Smith, she's putting her ex-husband on blast and said that he is not paying child support and spousal support since news of their divorce went public. Now, shout out to Page Six for the story. So, Jodie Turner-Smith accused her estranged husband of not paying child support for their 4-year-old daughter, Juno. I didn't even know the child was that big already. I thought maybe she had the baby like a year ago, but she said 4. I'm like, okay. Now, according to the court docs obtained by TMZ, the Queen and Slim actress alleged the Dawson's Creek alum is reneging on his promise to continue supporting her financially amid their divorce. Now, Turner Smith, who's 38, alleged in the docs that Jackson, who's 46, promised to always support me and assured me that I would not have to worry about financial security for our daughter if we ever separated because he said he understood how difficult life could be as a Black woman and a single mother. Child. And you know, the people's gonna come up in here with like, that's why you shouldn't mess with them white men. Cause this is how they gonna do. I'm like, child, Black men do it to Black women all the time too. So we're not gonna sit up in here and make it about no race. But since he wanted to come up here and be like, well, I know how hard it is for a Black woman to make it and be a single mother and take care of a child. It's like, well, if you understand, sir, that you need to abide by your promise and do what needs to be done. Now, she also argued in the filing that it's called Dr. Odyssey. That's the name of the damn show. Because I told her I didn't see it, but I knew it was something with an Odyssey in it. Child, it's the Love Boat. That's what that damn show is. And so they said she also argued in the filing that the Dr. Odyssey actor made more money than her during their 4-year marriage and has been purposely dragging out their divorce proceedings, causing her to rack up legal fees. The agency actress wants her. Oh, that's the show. I forgot she's on that show. And that show is currently on, I think, Showtime, but I have Paramount. I told her I don't have regular TV cable, all that stuff. I got streaming services that connect with all of that. So the agency, I know that's the show with Richard Gere. I was wondering why she looked familiar. It's funny. It's like I got her, and then we got Lashana Lynch, who I know people would probably try to compare both of them to each other because they kind of look similar. And they do. I'm not just saying that because they Black women. It's just that I'm sure there are people out here who confuse Jodie Turner-Smith and Lashana Lynch because they kind of favor each other. And Lashana Lynch is on Day of the Jackal, which is another good show that people should be checking out. Excuse me, I'll probably add that to my favorite shows of 2024 list when I get around to that. But anyway, back to this. So they said the agency actress wants her ex to pay her $8,543 per month, retroactive to the date of her initial filing on October 2023, and pay her $28,641 a month, and spousal support while their divorce is still pending. So damn, they didn't even sign the divorce papers, and this is the shit that's going down. Now, additionally, she wants Jackson to pay her $250,000 to cover her attorney fees and other costs. Page Six has reached out to a rep for Jackson, but did not immediately hear back. Now, Turner Smith filed for divorce from the Mighty Ducks actor on October of 2023, citing, as they always do, irreconcilable differences as the cause of the split. She asked for joint physical custody of their daughter, whom they welcomed in April of 2020. Now, a source told Us Weekly that Jackson was caught off guard by the filing and didn't think their marital issues were enough to call it quits. However, That same month, he was seen with Black Panther star Lupita Nyong'o at Janelle Monáe's The Age of Pleasure tour stop of the YouTube Theater at the YouTube Theater in Inglewood, California. Now, by December, the duo confirmed their relationship by holding hands during a stroll in Joshua Tree, California. Joshua Jackson and Joshua Tree, Kissing. So they said, despite celebrating Nyong'o's 41st birthday together in March, the actress confirmed that she was single a few months later, probably because she realized the type of man he is. Don't tell me you out here fetishizing Black women, Joshua. But then again, they do say once you go black, ... Now, despite celebrating, so they said Turner Smith and the dad of one met at his birthday party in 2018 and secretly got engaged less than a year later. The pair tied the knot in December of 2019. So, child, this is a mess. I was gonna say I did like their love, and I think they did look good together when I started seeing the pictures of them and all this other stuff. And I wanted them to make it work. And I like Joshua Jackson as an actor. But if you out here being messy and not taking care of your marital, spousal, father duties, then I'm sorry, Mr. Lowdown Dirty Dog. You need to do what needs to be done as a father and not be out here trying to show that you are literally becoming a typical statistic where it's like you lay down with the woman, you get her pregnant, but you don't want to take care of your responsibility of being a dad to your child. Now, I'm sure because this story did come out like literally an hour before I went live with the story. So I'm sure that we will probably be hearing from Joshua Jackson's attorneys or attorney, and he'll give us the latest on what's the tea in regards to the situation. Until then, I'm going to still keep my eye out and pay attention to what's going on with that, and I'll bring that story here as that develops. But in the meantime, I want to hear from you all. What do you think of this story in regards of the latest on Jodie Turner Smith and Joshua Jackson? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so now let's get into some Housewives of Beverly Hills news because things is getting messy. PK is throwing shade at his estranged wife, who I'm hearing word on the curb is she planning on filing for divorce any day now, which I kind of sense it was coming. So now it's going to be the real ex-housewives. They need to change the name because none of these women on the show technically are married. It's like, yeah, all the way. Oh, wait. I think the only person on the show that's married is not even like holding a diamond, and that's Kathy Hilton. I think everybody else on the show is divorced, separated, on the verge of divorce, because you got Kyle about to get a divorce. I don't know why she don't divorce Mauricio, because I just heard Mauricio and her were out in Aspen because they always do the Aspen trip together, which I don't understand. After I separate and divorce with the person I'm with, oh, we not doing the things that we were always doing prior. We're not doing our whole Aspen trip. We're not sitting in the same country club, the same house, unless you go to your separate house and I go to mine. Like, we're not doing a whole cabin thing together. I'm sorry, I'm shady in that way. It's like, no, because to me, when I've been watching college, it seems like she's holding out hope that she and Mauricio is going to get back together. But Mauricio, I feel like, is going through his midlife crisis, which, quiet as is kept, he's been laying low and spreading it wide with young puss for years throughout her marriage, allegedly. That has always been the tea that's been floating around these Hollywood streets when it comes to Kyle. But she wanted to be in denial, and she wanted to say, her marriage wasn't in comparison to, damn, I forgot which one she said on the show that was, I said, child, your husband was out here cheating. What are you talking about? In regards to the situation, of what's going on with her. But I was just like, but here's the thing with Dorit. I will say this, Miss Mama definitely has been working hard for that diamond. She has clocked in and she came to work this season. Because when she got up in Camille and her started going at it and she called her a cunt, my mouth hit my jaw was like, I literally was like, I just got to slap my hands in my face, and I could have been imitating Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, because she really came to clock in and with the reads in the shade. And Kyle was like, I don't know who this girl is. Who is this girl? I said, child, that's always probably been, beneath her, but because she wanted to be so loyal to you, and now she's finally the rose-colored glasses came on. She see you for the fair weather friend, fake ass that you are. Dorit don't give a damn no more. She's like, you know what? I'm not trying to, like, if my marriage is going to the shits and I need this Beverly Hills Housewives coin to keep me afloat, And I can't always rely on PK to take care of me. I got to do what I got to do, including steamroll over my so-called damn friends. Because to me, when I look at Kyle gives me like she's very one-sided when it comes to how her friendships are. And then talking about how she want people to go hard for Teddy Mellencamp. Nobody don't care about that boring bitch. And I'll be glad. I hope they don't bring her back to the show. When she asked Camille, do she need a moment? I was like, ooh. Because it was like, you were giving her that. Like, you were trying to fight to get you a diamond back on the show. Camille, we don't want you there. We know why Kelsey left your insufferable ass and cheated on you with the flight attendant. But anyway, let's get into the story. Because, when the premiere of the show began, because we had heard, like, I guess through the reunion or something or another, that PK and Dorit were going through a rough patch with their marriage. But then the show of the season, this current season, opens up with Dorit pretty much letting Erica be the first one to know that her and PK was separating. And then it got out in the news. Erica kept it close to her vest because Dorit asked her not to say anything. So she respected that on her. And, in the beginning, I wasn't liking Erica because of how she was coming across with the stuff that was going on with Tom. Well, I'm hearing it's about to be sentenced any moment. They want to give him like a mental reevaluation before they try to sentence him because they say he got dementia. You know how some of these people out here be faking it, but they want to check all the cognitive stuff before they start with the sentencing because he is going to jail. I would hope, because it's like we can't be out here showing that only millionaires and billionaires are the ones that don't get to go to jail, but everybody else, because we don't have enough money, we always get locked up over the stupidest of things or the simplest of things or things that people like the president-elect should be in jail for. But they get to run for president, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Now, one of the things that Dorit said was that, well, she went on and told anybody, I guess, who had an ear and could listen, because, she likes to tell people ear off, that basically her husband, PK, was a full-blown alcoholic. You could have just said he had a drinking problem, whatever, but, she got to make everything so dramatic. And I live for it because, it's good grist for our mail and it's good for TV. But then you got to wonder when the husband or the person that you're talking about is watching themselves on television and watching their wife say these things about them, how that makes you feel. And I guess, I do know, in Hollywood, especially in Beverly Hills, perception is everything. It's all about not letting people see the vulnerability in the behind all the fakeness. And that's what I like about Beverly Hills Housewives is that, behind the fakeness, we get to see the real deal, Holyfield, and we get to see all the stuff that's going on. But a lot of them try to give you the glitz and the glamour. So I can think that's why that show still stands out. And all them other housewife shows, I just be like, when are y'all getting canceled? But anyway, so PK basically said that he was shocked and disappointed and upset by what Dorit basically had to say and how she characterized their separation, saying the following. He said, I was shocked, disappointed, and upset at what Dorit had to say. This is what PK57 confessed during the Tuesday, December 24th episode of Bravo's Hot Mic podcast. Said, first of all, I'm really proud and public about my sobriety, and I'm 12 months in 2 weeks. Now, PK noted that he had a very emotional, tough journey to get sober, so it surprised him that Dorit, who's 48, took a jab at that part of his life during the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 14 premiere, which aired in September. Now, during the episode, Dorit broke the news to her castmates that she and PK have separated after 9 years of marriage. Now, Dorit, who shares kids Jagger, 10, and Phoenix, 8, with PK, publicly revealed the news in May. She also alleged that PK was pouring alcohol on his problems within their marriage before they parted ways, saying it got very, very, very toxic. This is what she told Erica Jane, claiming that PK was a full-blown alcoholic. Now, PK denied the allegations on Tuesday, explaining that people don't necessarily realize how this disease has got you until you work out that you actually have this disease. And many people, unfortunately, don't work it out and don't get better. Now, he noted that as you get older, alcoholism becomes progressive and it gets worse, which Dorit couldn't comprehend since she never struggled with the illness. Now, Dorit's lack of understanding about sobriety is not her fault. This is what he said. She hasn't invested in it. And it's not something she hasn't worked a program and hasn't done what I've done. He revealed there is no fully blown alcoholic. You're either an alcoholic or you're not. Now, despite not liking what Dorit called him on RHOBH, he confessed that alcoholism did have an element of responsibility in relation to the breakdown of our marriage. He further claimed it was just a component, not only the cause. Or not the only cause. He said the truth is, if you understand the disease, alcohol is a symptom. It's not a cause. PK continued. So the reality is you have to get to what the cause was underneath. So it's just not as simple as to say he was a full-blown alcoholic. That's why we separated. Now, Dorit and PK's marriage woes have been highlighted on RHOBH for several seasons, but during the season 13 reunion, which aired in February, she revealed that PK was in fact sober. However, the union broke down in the months that followed. Now, during the season 14 premiere, she said there was no catastrophic event that caused the eventual separation. Dorit later teased what's to come on the season, exclusively telling Us Weekly in November, things don't stay amicable between PK and I, and it was a big shock to me. She noted when they filmed, they had just separated, so fans will see the journey from start to finish. Now, PK agreed with his estranged wife, explaining that on the podcast that he can now tell how unhappy and emotionally distraught she was when watching the episodes back. That being said, PK confessed he didn't like how Dorit claimed she stood by me during bankruptcies, gambling debts, and DUIs. And child, this is another thing that had me thinking about with Garcelle said on the show, which in the last episode actually, and I think she was talking to Sutton about it. She said something on that because this is when she revealed that PK has been texting Kyle while them Kyle and Dorit haven't been on the best of terms in regards to their relationship or their friendship, I guess we could call it, because Kyle had a shiny new thing, the lesbian. What was it, Morgan Wade or whatever? I almost said Waylon, the racist, but no, Morgan Wade. She was running around with that lady, and then I guess Kyle was, the coochie juice was bubbling in between me down there. And when people started saying certain things and starting rumors that, oh, the way y'all kind of close and the way y'all acting, that there might be some sexual tension there, Kyle tried to back away. But she was all up on Morgan and living for it, making it her storyline on the show. So she can use that as a smokescreen for her marriage breaking down. So to me, I feel like it was wrong on both sides. Like to me, when to get to what, because I'm gonna get to what Garcelle said. She basically implied that she don't think Dorit had anything to do with the robbery that happened at the house, but someone else was involved. And I'm wondering if she was trying to imply that PK did some type of insurance scheme where he hired some people to go break into his house and steal the jewelry and things up in there, and so he can file an insurance claim, because you can do that sometimes when if you take insurance out on your jewelry or things that's in your house, you can actually file and all that other stuff. If somebody breaks into your home and steals your things, and you can be able to get money from that. So I'm wondering if that was what Garcelle was implying, and Dorit just so happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm wondering if that's what she was saying in regards to that. But overall, I will say this: Dorit definitely been giving us some energy. She's been very entertaining this season, because any other time I'm like, girl, why are you still on the show? Like, you really not offering us anything. You're not really giving us any kind of anything as a cast member. You're kind of just background fodder. We could make you a friend of if that's the case. But yeah, you're not giving what needs to be given on this show. But she definitely turned up this season, and I can't wait to see the next episode. I don't even know if the next episode is. I don't even know when the show airs. All I know is sometimes I happen to go to Peacock and the episodes is up there. But I think it's out on Tuesdays. But being that it's Christmas Eve, I don't know if the show's going to come out this week. But I'll have to just check to see if the show was up there. If it's up there, it's fine. If it's not, it's fine too. Like, there's other shows I could be binging and catching up on until they drop a new episode. There's a lot of shows and stuff that I'm, invested in right now. So good luck to you, PK and Dorit, because I know y'all, you know, Yeah, I guess y'all going through it or whatever the case is. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story regards of what PK had to say about the alcoholism? But I do think there was a lot more that was going on in their marriage, and alcohol was probably his way of not wanting to deal with his problems, because he's someone, whenever Dorit was up there trying to have like these deep felt conversations about things that was going on in their marriage, I always felt like that he was kind of just brushing it off. I don't know if that's necessarily a British thing where you don't deal with your problems, you don't want to deal with your emotions and that sort of thing. So he's the type that will probably just down, his emotions with, by drinking. So maybe that's what it was. And Dorit likes to talk, but she don't like to listen. According to what we've seen on the show, she does get long-winded when she runs her mouth. She don't like to listen when people talk to her, and that could be another thing that was probably frustrating him. But who knows? Maybe they need to do like what Erica's been doing over on The Housewives, and they need to have like a marriage counseling situation and film it so we know how they can get down to the root of their marital problems. Is those reality? Wasn't there like is that couple therapy show still on? Maybe they need to go on that. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, so let's get into some Mariah news. So Mariah's about to be she's about to do the halftime thing tomorrow over there on Netflix. Well, not the halftime. She's supposed to, I think, open the show. Beyonce's doing the halftime. And I also heard with Beyonce that once that episode airs on Netflix, we only have a limited amount of time to watch it before they take it off. So I hope somebody records it and puts it up on YouTube or whatever. Because I'm like, I gotta work tomorrow anyway. Like I'm doing the Knicks game. So I'll try to figure out a way that I'll be able to watch it. But I'm not gonna sit up here and watch that whole game on no damn Netflix with their horrible ass streaming. Because remember, they had the live streaming thing before that was a mess. Excuse me. With what was it, the boxing match with Mike Tyson? That was a whole disaster with them trying to get that everybody to watch that show at the same time. But anyway, let's get into this Mariah thing, because apparently it looked like Mariah got a man, or may have a man. But they said she was spotted holding hands with innocent Paak while they was out together in Aspen, Colorado. It's like everybody, I forgot she goes to Aspen a lot. She goes to Aspen. Kathy Hilton goes to Aspen. Kyle Richards, and her husband Mauricio always doing something up in Aspen. So Aspen is it, I guess, because all that snow and stuff. So now, in photos obtained by TMZ, the Leave the Door Open singer, who's 38, sweetly held her hand as they entered Cash Steak Restaurant on Sunday evening. He even gently had his hand wrapped around her waist as they ducked into the eatery, and ever the gentleman appeared to hold the door open for her. Now, while the duo's display may have suggested they were an item, sources insisted to TMZ that the two are not dating, and the musicians were even observed leaving the restaurant separately. Well, isn't that what they always do when they want to deny relationship rumors, that they have one person leave and then another one leaves and they kind of follow each other back to the place and then they get to hunching? Like, this is an old Hollywood tactic. Now, Mariah, who's 55, and Anderson are currently collaborating on a new musical project, and the duo have been hitting up the recording studio in Aspen as of late, according to insiders. Now, on Thursday, the duo reportedly enjoying a dinner break from all their hard work at Catch. Now, Anderson has been giving social media followers a sneak peek of their musical collaboration, and over the summer, shared a video of him and Mariah at the legendary Electric Lady Music Studio in the Big Apple. Well, I'm definitely familiar with Electric Lady Studios. That's over there on West 8th Street, actually, in the Village. Now, they said, narrating the video, Anderson told fans, "Oh my God, Mariah Carey, listen, you ever be starstruck like when a star strikes you? That's what it was. But I couldn't just freeze up. We had to get in the studio and just make something." Now, Anderson linked up with Mariah again this past Halloween. He then shared a snap of himself dressed as a member of Daft Punk as he celebrated the holiday alongside Carey. Now, Mariah was last in a long-term relationship with backup dancer Brian Tanaka. However, they went their separate ways last year, while in January, Anderson filed for divorce from Jay Lynn after more than 10 years of marriage. Anderson shares two sons with Jay, his second wife, and the kid's name is Soul and Shine. And they said that the singer recently released his directorial debut, K-Pops, which starred himself as his eldest son. Okay, well, that's interesting. You saw Then he said that the feature was inspired by what the singer, who was of mixed Black and Korean heritage, described as funnier aspects of the experience of growing up biracial. The performer previously spoke to Hypebeast about why he chose to cast Soul in the feature. He said, I wanted to write a movie that would explore the dynamic in those familiar relationships, and also I get to sneak in quality time with my son while shooting. Meanwhile, the Queen of Christmas has been spending the last few days in snowy Aspen after wrapping her Christmas time tour. The tour was announced in August and has celebrated the 30th anniversary of her timeless holiday hit, All I Want for Christmas Is You. The first show was on November 6th in Highland, California, and the closing concert was December 17th in Brooklyn. So I'm wondering, was that the one that Rihanna went to, and she was acting, she got her boob sign, and then you had Lipo Lee standing next to her acting like a damn groupie. And then Mariah's security kind of shooed him away when he tried to touch her. So in regards to this story, I'm not catching any kind of dating from these two. I'm getting that it's a work collaboration. They probably were like, let's get the blogs talking. So I'm gonna go and let's get the blog talking. So let me hold your hand and let me be, but that's gentleman stuff. It's like I'll hold a woman's hand if I'm taking them in, and I'll open the door and all the other stuff. But yeah, that gets tongues a wagging because they're both newly single. He's getting a divorce. Mariah has been with a man since, I guess, Brian Tanaka. She always tries to perpetuate this image that I'm not a sleaze bucket. I don't go around just hunching any kind of man that I glance at. She trying to let y'all know she not Jennifer Lopez. Like, she really be taking her time when to get with the men. Her good Jodie, Jennifer Lopez. So with this whole situation, I just think that it's a work situation. I am curious as to find out what kind of collaboration they working on. Is it music for a film? Is it like Mariah got a new album coming out? Because she's been teasing that she's been talking about putting out a new album for a while, and we haven't gotten anything in regards to that. So and then Anderson Paak, I like his stuff. No shade, but I actually like him more than I like Bruno Mars. And remember, them two did a collaboration together with Anderson and Bruno, but I like Anderson better. But I ask all of you this. What do you guys think? Do you think Mariah and me and Mariah go back like babies and pacifiers? I said that Mariah and Anderson got a thing going on. Let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, I definitely want to go see Nosferatu. Um, I want to see if I could be able to go see it. If not, I'm gonna go try to see it on Friday or possibly the weekend, because that is definitely a movie I want to go check out in a theater. Like you said, both Mariah and Beyonce's performances will be on Twitter X. Exactly. And in that case, that's why I watch it. Because I do not feel like dealing with the craziness of Netflix and they horrible streaming tactics just so I could watch this thing. So somebody smart enough to put up on Twitter, I'll get up in there and watch it. Mariah, Janet, or Rihanna, who's releasing it? Okay. Because all three been talking, oh, we got new music coming out. Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Inquiring minds want to know. All right, so now let's talk about my girl, Wendy Williams. How you doing? So Wendy's in the news again, and that's because her son, Lil Kev, is giving an update on his mother. And this has to do because as we told about in yesterday's show, Wendy went to Lil Kev's graduation and they were showing like how frail she looked. She was a little scooter, which I understand because when you got the lymphedema, it's hard for her to walk. Like she has like no feeling in her feet. I think she said at one point when she was cognitive that she had like 10% feeling in her feet, which is really bad. And so she uses a scooter to get around. And plus, she got the lymphedema, she got the frontal temporal dementia and the aphasia. She has, and the Graves' disease. It's like it's a whole bunch of things going on with her. And plus, you know, Son said he was sober, but because Charlemagne went, and I think he was at the graduation actually, he sent out a tweet or something or another, or a post. He posted a reel on Instagram actually, congratulating him for graduating from college, and he gave in give the congratulations. Lil Kev gave an update on how his mother's doing. And it kind of also gives us an insight in the whole thing. Because remember yesterday, I was like, okay, so now if Wendy's going to all these events and stuff, how are they saying that that the family is not having access to her and she's being locked up and those other stuff? But he explains it in there. So let's get into the story. So now on Monday, Breakfast Club host Charlemagne the God posted a reel on Instagram of the former talk show host enjoying some self-care before attending Hunter Jr.'s college graduation from Florida International University in Miami. So he said, this makes me feel ancient. Congratulations at top floor _ Kev for graduating from FIU. Is it FIU? Oh, yeah, it is. It's FIU Instagram with a degree in economics. The former Wendy Williams Experience co-host, born Leonard Larry McKelvey, not you putting in the whole government, captured his post. And he said, next stop law school. Keep God first, stay humble, and keep working, young man. We truly thank God for it all, he added. Now, Hunter Jr., who's 24, took to the comment section of Charlemagne's post to thank him for his kind words and to give a quick update on his mom's health, saying, thank you, fam, and put 3 prayer emojis, praying hand emojis. Let's get her home. Black fingers, and then it shows like a black finger, hand with the fingers crossed. He commented, while I'm here, quick update on my mom. She's sober and wants to come home. We're fighting to make that happen because isolation is killing her faster than anything else. So, and then also went on to say, because I'm like, damn, I didn't realize I posted so many photos up in here. But hold on, because I want to show y'all there's the post of what it was that he said. Now, it's unclear where Williams currently stays, but in February, her brother shared she was living in an undisclosed treatment facility. Now, Page Six has reached out to Williams' rep for a comment, but did not immediately hear back. Now, last week, the former Wendy Williams host, who was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia in February, cried tears of joy as she watched her son walk across the stage at his graduation. Williams, who wore a sequin floor-length dress and black and white Chanel boots, was seen smiling and cheering for her only child before wiping away tears. Now, the former radio show host, who was seen as using a mobility scooter to travel around to and from the venue last Thursday, attended the ceremony with her 93-year-old dad, Thomas Williams Sr., and his other daughter, Wanda Finney. Now, Hunter Jr. reportedly obtained his Bachelor of Arts in Economics, but now he's in my law school. Well, that's what Charlemagne said. But I'm like, so does that mean that Lil Kev actually is looking forward to going to law school? And maybe the reason why he wants to go into law school is because of what's happening with his mother, and he wants to use it as a way to be able to legally get her out of the situation she's in. This also reminds me of the situation of like Gia Judice, because, Teresa's daughter, her eldest, was sitting talking about that she's in law school. I don't know if she's still continuing with it, but I know from the Housewives of Jersey, she was talking about going to law school. And I think this is due because her father was deported and she wants to figure out how to, like, I guess, understand the law and maybe try to get him back into the United States. So I'm thinking I could just, when things happen to a celebrity's child or a celebrity, the child wants to kind of jump into the law thing so that way they could understand what's going on with that. And so they said Williams, who shares her son with ex-husband Kevin Hunter Sr., Kelvin Hunter Sr., as we like to call him over here, then joined the college grad and her other relatives at a get-together at Ducanu Jamaican Kitchen in Miami. I do wonder if, speaking of Big Kev, was he at the graduation? Because I totally forgot about him until they mentioned his name. Now, in 2022, the Dancing with the Stars alum was placed under court-ordered guardianship after her bank, Wells Fargo, sent a letter to New York Supreme Court Judge Arlene Bluth requesting a hearing about her well-being. This past July, Williams' family said they were still denied contact with her due to the guardianship. Now, last month, Williams' shady guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, I threw shady in there because I do feel like she's being shady, claimed the famed media personality was permanently incapacitated by her dementia. She is who is also battling she is also battling grave disease and lymphedema, which I already pointed that out to y'all earlier. So if they don't have contact with her, then how are they able to let her know that her son was graduating? And I don't know. Sabrina was out here talking about that Wendy is incapacitated. We saw the pictures of her yesterday. She, yeah, I'm thinking like the dementia is slowly kind of dimming her light or whatever, but she does seem coherent enough that she is aware of what's going on. And it does seem like that she wants to be around her family. So I feel like at this point, if she is doing well, if she is doing all the things that's getting herself better, if she's not drinking, then why not reunite her with her family and the people who love her and will be able to take care of her? Because yeah, lonely. Like the one thing you got to realize that really kills people is loneliness. That'll kill you faster than the disease you with. And if you don't have the people that actually truly you love and care about, or vice versa around you, I do feel like that Wendy won't be long for this world. So I hope that she's able to reunite with her family. This whole conservatorship thing could be fixed, and that Lil Kev, since he's talking about, law school, that he could go and understand the law so that way he could know how to take better care of his mother and not let these people just run around, circles around what's going on and take advantage of Wendy any longer. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to the latest on Wendy Williams? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. So let me close these windows and then let me check out the comments. He said Mariah's gonna put out an album first. And he said Rihanna retired. Yeah, she did retire, but she ain't let the fans know she retired. That's why I said at this point she can stop playing games and let people know that she ain't coming back. He did not put out a record. The passion isn't there anymore. So stop like string along your fans and just tell them the truth. Rip the band-aid off. I know they're gonna be pissed. Oh, I would just say, you know what? Right now, I'm not creatively inspired to create music. I'm on a whole nother, you know, um, I'm on a whole nother place right now, mentally and creatively. So the music is gonna take a back burner. When I'm inspired, when I'm hungry, when I feel like I want to put out music, it doesn't feel like a chore or a job, and I have to think back to the traumatic hell of what I had to go through to get where I am today. I'll put a record out. Rihanna retired. Janet needs to escape her Trump-loving brother if she wants my coin. Yeah, because Randy don't know what the hell he doing over there. From what it looks like, Janet is going to use the same Ford. Chill. And I was going to look. I was going to come up in here and be like, throw a little shade and say, it's her. And I mean, she gonna keep giving y'all that same 1-2 step. But look, Ron came up in here and said that she gonna use the same 4 dances. That's why I'm wondering. I don't think he was, because I haven't heard them mention. Like, I want to know, was Big Kev at the graduation? Because I would think, like, if my child was hit with such a big milestone, I want to be there. Ain't like he busy working, because since he was managing Wendy, we ain't heard Kevin managing anybody else. Wendy, I believe, was his own client, his only client. Yeah, I agree. I was like, give it back to her family. I would just hope that she gets back. She gets back with her family one of these days. Because like I said, like, a lot of people who die without anybody to be there for them. Like, I can imagine being like dying all alone. And well, we all die alone, but I'm just saying like that, but that feeling of loneliness in that probably just stings even harder. I try not to think about it. Like I was thinking about it recently. I was like, I want to be able to, like, I'm putting it out in the universe. I want to get to a place where it's like I could make enough money where I could take care of my parents, because it's like, yeah, they've taken care of me. Well, that's like a given, because when you have kids, you want your parents are going to take care of you. But I want to get to a place where it's just like I can take care of them. I can ease off, them off of whatever issues or stress or whatever they're going on with. So it's like, yeah, y'all can come live with me, and then I can take care of y'all. You can stay in the back house by the pool, and y'all live your best life while I'm all, making the coins and doing whatever. So I want to get to a place where I'll be able to take care of my parents financially. This is ways to show that thank you for raising a good child. and giving birth to the spawn of Satan. But anyway, not me though. If y'all watch the show, y'all know who I'm talking about. So it was like Mariah will probably release an album before yeah, that's why it was funny because Robert said the same thing. I do agree that she would release, I do believe that she would release an album before the other two. Because how long Janet been talking about Black Diamond? Is that still the name of the album? But look, she got enough money. I don't know why she torn. Like, didn't she make a deal with Weesam that she stayed with him long enough? It was like she get a certain amount of money, and then when they stay long enough that she give him a baby, and around that time she gave him a child. So she gets paid for the baby and her. So she good marrying that man with all them billions. But anyway, let's move on. And let's talk about Urkel, because every time Jaleel White open his damn mouth, I be feeling like, you know what, you need to stick that foot further down your damn throat. Because every time this man says something, it's just more stupidity. So he's clearing up some of the controversial comments about how Black viewers rank his hit 90s sitcom, Family Matters. So now, while promoting his memoir, Growing Up Urkel, at the Wilmington Public Library in Delaware, Jaleel spoke on how he feels that the Black community undervalues the show because it wasn't hood like Martin, Living Single, and other examples, which, as a child of the 80s who grew up watching 90s and 2000s sitcoms, Martin was not ratchet or hood. Living Single was not hood. In fact, Martin was somebody who was a radio DJ. Living Single, you had people that lived in Brooklyn. And Brooklyn kind of is still gentrified, but their type of Brooklyn, it was like Black excellence all the down to where they was. Wait, what's Brooklyn was in Harlem? So now I'm confused as to where the people from Living Single, now I'm like screwing myself up. It's been a minute since I watched Living Single. I was like, did they live in Brooklyn or Harlem? Because it definitely looked like they could have lived in either, especially with the brownstones and stuff. And all the people that was on that show were successful in their own way. You had Maxine, who was a lawyer. You had Overton, who was someone who was a handyman. Who else was on there? Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. You had Khadijah, who was from Flavor Magazine, ran her own magazine. Regine was Regine. Oh, no, I'm kidding. Regine ran a boutique. I mean, she was a boutique girl, but she was Miss Fashion and bougie as hell. But we lived for Regine. And so all the other shows that he was talking about, I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? But anyway, let's get into the thing. So now this prompted a lot of controversy and backlash as debates ensued over this overly dismissive notion. The actor recently clarified his comments on the Higher Learning podcast, explaining where I like how Van Latham's, that's his show, with the chick from The Bachelor. And sometimes she goes on as a co-host of The View. I forgot her name. What is it? Rachel Lindsay or something or another? I can't remember her name at the top of my head. But anyway, so they said the actor recently clarified his comments on the High Learning podcast, explain where he thinks he went wrong and what he would have done differently. So I do have the clip, courtesy of the Jasmine brand. So let us take a gander over to said Instagram. I'm gonna let y'all hear what this heifer had to say, and then we'll come back and talk. Peace out.
It makes certain people feel like you're demeaning them. Mm-hmm. And that's not what I meant at all. Okay. I conflated a couple of ideas.
Sure.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm fresh.
But I could have worded things better if I had known I was speaking on a world stage and not just a small room in Delaware. I shouldn't have invoked the word hood. When you say the word hood, it makes certain people feel like you're demeaning them. Mm-hmm. And that's not what I meant at all. Okay. I conflated a couple of ideas.
Sure.
Okay. There's a lot of good in hood. And I shouldn't have generalized. Those are the two mistakes I made in that remark. I want to say I misspoke, but I could have worded things better if I had known I was speaking on a world stage and not just.
Okay. Now, this is what I'm going to call BS on what this heifer had to say. First, we said, if I had known that I was speaking on a world stage instead of like this small little room, I'm like, sir, you approaching 50, but You ain't that damn dense to not know that at any time, whatever you say as a public figure, whatever size room you in, somebody is holding up their damn cell phone and recording what you saying is going to make it and post it on social media is going to go viral. So we're not going to sit up here and act like that you so damn dense that you wouldn't realize that, oh yeah, if I'm speaking, that I'm just speaking to these little people in this room and that's it. And it's not going to get out. I think everybody in their right mind, well, maybe it's because, I mean, Jaleel's older than me by a couple of years, but at least I know, and we both came up at a time before internet was a thing, but we're well aware to know that how the internet works or phones or things of that nature and how things go viral. So I feel like he's trying to make excuses instead of just owning up. I mean, he owned up a little bit, but it sounded like he was trying to make an excuse on top of the ownation of the situation. So when he goes, it's some good in the hood. We know what you meant when you said hood. Hood means like ghetto or ratchet. That's always been kind of the thing. I know I grew up in the hood. So hood is equated with projects, below the poverty line, that sort of thing. But the show that you were sitting there talking about, none of y'all was that. Not Family Matters was middle class. It was a middle class black family that lived in the suburbs. And all the show, like I can't even think of no, to be honest, I can't even think of a 90s show that existed that was popular that was hood. I really can't, because what 90s shows existed? Like we were talking about Martin, Living Single, we had Hang with Mr. Cooper, we had The Cosby Show, we had A Different World, we had, all those shows that I'm thinking of. I mean, we had The Parkers, Moesha, like all those shows that I'm thinking of right now, none of those shows were ratchet. None of those shows were hood. It was black centered, but it wasn't ratchet. I think maybe the reason why he's saying that is because as much as the show Family Matters it was a family show. It was on TGIF. It was made for for kids my age, my generation. I watched TGIF. So it was kind of like playing in the whole wholesome family entertainment. So it was up there with like Full House and Step by Step and what other shows existed on there? Sabrina the Teenage Witch and all those type of shows. It was very Disney-fied. And in ways, it was kind of corny. So some people feel like, okay, this is a black sitcom, but white people writing these damn jokes. That's why I think where it comes down to it, and how people feel in that way. But let's go to the comments because they was roasting him up in the comments. One person says, "Sir, it's best that you just hush." That's why I said it's like you just every time you open your mouth, you just make it worse. Another person said The Cosby Show was one of the highest rated black and American shows and far from hood. Another person said and put a meme of Benedict Cumberbatch with a flask in his mouth mouthing "Go away." Another person using Whitney Houston as a GIF. Another one with Nene Leakes doing that little face. Another person said Fresh Prince wasn't. Oh yeah, that's another one. I love Fresh Prince. That was a kid that was taken from the hood of Philly and brought into Beverly Hills, where he was like, it was a culture shock. So another person said Fresh Prince wasn't hood, Different World wasn't hood, and The Cosby Show definitely wasn't. You was the breakout star of that show, yes, but you were no Will Smith, sir, not even close. Another person said Urkel, we trying to rap Gibson-ish. Yeah, because Christmas is tomorrow, and I haven't gotten around to wrapping my Christmas gifts. Yeah, I be doing shit at the last minute over here. Now, another person said, Family Matters is coming in last because it was the worst show out of the lineup. Nothing to do with being hood. Martin, Fresh Prince, Living Single, etc. are objectively better and more entertaining shows. Nothing more, nothing less. Sad to learn that Urkel is an Urkel in real life. And last but certainly not least, in the words of Whoopi Goldberg, the Nutmeg McCain, Jaleel, please stop talking. So that's what the people's up in here saying. And that's that. But then again, I don't know if I would agree with the whole thing of them saying that Family Matters is coming in last because it was the worst show out of the lineup. I mean, I enjoyed Family Matters. That was, like I said, that was my childhood growing up. And before Urkel, that show was like, okay, if y'all don't get some sort of a miracle going here with this show, y'all are on the verge of cancellation. So him coming on in that guest starring role was a happy accident. And then the people behind the scenes saw the huge response and decided to make him the focal point, which pissed a lot of people off. And people was also talking about, like, he's had other issues and stuff in the past in regards of, so yeah, they were saying, like, however, this wasn't the only hot topic that Jaleel White engaged with in 2024. The 48-year-old claimed in his memoir that Bianca Lawson, not Kendra the Vampire Slayer, clout chased him when they went on a couple of dates back in the days of his prime TV stardom. Clearly, he has a lot of reflections and realizations when it comes to his time in the spotlight. Despite backlash and criticism for comments like these, the years since these events have made them clearer for White, even if it's an imperfect perspective in many's eyes. Furthermore, the recent controversy adds to some other alleged rifts in the Family Matters cast, such as Jo Marie Payton claiming that Jaleel White wanted to fight her. You wanted to fight Harriet Winslow? Yeah. And then remember, Gabrielle Union and him went to the same college. And he basically reported in there that she was like, nobody liked you. And nobody liked him in college because of how he would just walk around acting like his shit didn't stink. So if all these people are saying this stuff about Jaleel White, sir, you might be the problem in this whole situation. So yeah, they said nevertheless, folks continue to hold the show in high regard with rose-tinted glasses. It's a classic, and nothing can take that status away. And so yeah, at the end of the day, Family Matters is a classic. It's up there as like one of the hottest sitcoms, regardless of how you feel about it. I grew up on the show. I like the show for what it was. And have I revisited it? At one point I did. I don't even know if it's still on HBO Max, because at one point when it was up on HBO Max, I was watching the seasons, but after season 1, I bailed. Now I'm back. And speaking of Kendra the Vampire Slayer, I just started rewatching Buffy yesterday. Because I'm like, ooh, I need to get my life with old Buffy episodes. So now I'm in my Buffy bag. But I haven't gotten to the Kendra episode yet. I'm still in season 1. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story regarding Jaleel White? I just like, sir, I just need you to stop going on people podcasts and talking, because every time you talk, you make that hole deeper and you just make situations worse. And I'm actually curious to find out, with all this stuff that's going on with him, and he keeps sticking his foot in his mouth, has his has his books, did his book, is it bestseller? Has it been selling? Is it doing well? Like, I'm curious. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay. You said all I know is that Maxine ass was always at the damn house. Okay, you a lawyer, but you never was working and always invading the refrigerator, right? And her name was Rachel Lindsay. Did I say that? I don't know what I said. You said David Archuleta was voted by the critics as Billboard's favorite Christmas song. Well, child, don't even get me started on David Archuleta, because I'm gonna tell you something. And I told you, I said if I see that boy, I'm gonna jump on him. But then again, I don't want to be accused of SA, so I gotta relax. So the day that I was supposed to go see, I don't know, I brought up David Archuleta in a conversation with a friend of mine when we went to go see Drag the Musical. And he went and told me, because I was like, because he said, David Archuleta, because, he had the little Christmas thing out in West Hollywood. So a friend of mine who just moved back to New York, and he's going to be flying back and forth for gigs and things. He was telling me that David Archuleta personally selected him to do the photos and everything for his event, that he was going to be doing the Christmas event and whatever. I was like, bitch, if I was in LA with you, Chris would have been on the prowl for Mr. David Archuleta. And he was telling me how like sweet he is and all this other stuff and how they had met. And I forgot who he told me he met him through. But I was like, bitch, I was jealous. I was like, let me find out. You said, is he trying to sell his damn book that nobody is interested in? Yeah, because I was like, I'm thinking in the beginning, I'm kind of interested in reading the book. But then with all the stuff that he was spilling about it, it just sounded like it just gave me like, you sound like you're bitter. You sound like you're just this arrogant prick. And I just didn't care enough after a while. I'm like, okay, you're turning me off. Like, I grew up liking like what, the show and all the other stuff and what you brought to it. But you're a dick. And I know he's recent on that Skeleton Crew show, the Star Wars series. He was on the first episode or the second episode, I think. So he is working one way or another. even if it's bona fide cameo status. Family Matters had white writers. That's why it didn't really connect with some black audiences. Yeah, it did feel like it was like, okay, you don't have no black people in them writers' rooms. What if he revealed that in his book? His book flopped, so he's trying to stir things up like Katie releases the deluxe album 1432. Oh, yeah, I posted that the other day in this group chat that I'm in. And I was like, did you know about this 1432 album? Because I just so happened to be scrolling on Apple Music and I saw the 1432 thing. And I was like, did you know about this? And I took a screenshot and I just sent it in the message. So I was like, yeah. I didn't even bother listening to it because I was like, child, I already heard 143. I was like, what's the damn number? 143. And I didn't care. And I wonder all them people that sat up out here saying, oh, this album is a bop. Da, 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 da. I wonder, but is it on repeat? Is that an album that y'all listen to a lot? And I doubt it. I think y'all was caught up in the zeitgeist. Y'all was caught up in the moment. And I don't hear people talk about Katie's new album. And when she performed them new songs at Jingle Ball, it didn't seem like the people was into it. Especially when she opened up with Woman's World, which in my opinion is the worst song of 2024. And we're going to get into the worst songs of 2024 later on in the show. But before we get to those, because we got 4 topics left and that show is over. This might be a short one today. If you can, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Now, without further ado, let's talk about Madonna, who basically we're going to get into her AIDS activism, which is explored in this upcoming documentary that's supposed to be coming on Sky TV. That I don't know if it's out yet. Wait, no, I don't think it is out yet. I think it comes out at the end of this month. So like in another week. But we found out some stuff that we're going to expect when we watch the show. So it says the 66-year-old's brother, Christopher Ciccone, who sadly passed away in October of 2024 due to prostate cancer, was heard in uncovered tapes how the deaths of her gay friends drove her to help and support AIDS victims. Now, among her heartfelt endeavors, she covered the medical course for British artist Martin Burgoyne, until his passing at just 23 in 1986, and even persuaded her then beau, Sean Penn, to fetch experimental drugs from Mexico that offered a glimmer of hope against the relentless disease. The Times has Madonna on record expressing her despair over her friend's fate, saying, "What could I do? I loved him. And people with AIDS are treated like they're lepers or something. If they contact AIDS, all their friends disappear. That's not a friend. How could I desert him? He was really my best friend." So the La Isla Bonita singer had a creative partnership with Martin after their initial meeting where he slung drinks as a bartender at an East Village club. Their friendship flourished, they became roommates, and he played crucial roles in both managing her first club tour and crafting the cover art for her 1983 Burning Up single. In poignant recollections captured in these unearthed recordings from her brother, set to feature in the upcoming 90-minute Sky documentary, Becoming Madonna, Christopher speaks of his sister's decision to dedicate her 1987 Who's That Girl tour to Martin's memory, which helped rake a whopping $400,000 for the American Foundation for AIDS Research. So good for her. I'm living for all of this. And there goes Madonna with her brother, who sadly, we talked about, passed away. Now, Christopher Ciccone, brother to the Queen of Pop, Madonna, was quoted by the Times as stating, "The AIDS benefit that we did at Madison Square Garden was emotionally taxing for everybody." He added, especially for Madonna because of Martin. "There had been so many friends of ours who had AIDS." Now, a multi-talented figure, Christopher also directed music videos for legend Tony Bennett and Dolly Parton, and even dabbled in interior design. However, his relationship with Madonna turned sour after he released a scandalous tell-all book in 2008 titled Life of My Sister Madonna, which became a bestseller because, we was all out here being nosy and wanted to hear what was going on. But I picked up the book at the Goodwill. That's where I got it. When I was working at the time, around there, I went into the Goodwill and I was like, "Oh, they got the Life of My Sister Madonna." I had to get that book. And I live for Madonna, but I had to get the tea. Not or his alleged tea that he was out here spilling. Now, despite the differences, the siblings eventually made amends and moved past their estrangement. Now, in 2012, Christopher expressed his creativity further by launching his own line of footwear. Now, following the artist passing at 63 years old, just shortly after Madonna's stepmother, Joan Ciccone, succumbed to a very aggressive cancer, Madonna reflected on her brother's life, saying, "He had impeccable taste and a sharp tongue, which he sometimes used against me," she concluded, "but I always forgave him." Well, yeah, because when you got a whole section for a brother, we love hard, but you try us, you piss us off. That mouth, that tongue, it could be a little bit lethal. But I love the fact that this highlights the overall extent of, what Madonna did in regards of contributing to speaking up and fighting against, this AIDS virus at the time, especially when, yeah, they were treating people in the 80s and 90s like you're a leper because they were still trying to find they still are trying to find a cure, but they've been able to maintain it. And, now we're at a point where if you take a medication, undetectable equals untransmittable. So yes, you can have sex with someone without a condom who is HIV positive, and you will not get the virus it won't be transferred to you. And there are still people out here who run around being ignorant and don't understand that. And I'll even admit at one point, even when I was working for an AIDS, nonprofit AIDS organization, I did get into a situation and I deeply regret it now. And I tell you, I don't regret a whole lot of things, but there was a guy that I hooked up with at a sex party, and then we ended up going back to his apartment. It's funny how the men, I be hunching people at the sex parties, and then they end up wanting to take me home with them. I'm like, well, Jim, would you try to husband me up? So, but then I got to a place where it was like I got too much in my head, and I kind of got into that ignorant headspace. But now it's like when you know better, you do better. And I'm at a place that was like, yeah, I totally understand that when you are at a place when you understand that undetectable means untransmittable, that yes, we have come far in regards of medications and stopping this whole thing with HIV. We haven't stopped the spread of it, but if you're with someone who is HIV positive, I'd rather be with somebody who's open and willing to tell me their status than someone who lies and just gives you the disease, and now you're out here screwed. So those are the ones that people really need to be putting energy into instead of these liars out here who don't sometimes know their status or know their status and intentionally infect people. So I want to give Madonna her props. She was one of the very first, in my opinion, that I can think of, pop stars that we're really out here fighting the good fight against HIV and AIDS long before it became the chic thing for many of your faves to be doing now. And like I said earlier, it's like, yeah, I want to give love and support to the late Elizabeth Taylor because she was out here with Amphar and fighting the good fight and stuff as well. But she's film, she's cinema, she was an actress. She wasn't like a music star. So she was out here doing her thing when it wasn't popular as well. And I'm sure there's been other people, but Madonna is the one that the most biggest and most mainstream of artists who was out here fighting a good fight when it wasn't chic, and her career at times suffered because of it. So shout out to her. I'm also looking forward to seeing this Becoming Madonna documentary when it finally airs. I don't think they mentioned in here because I was like, I remember the first time I covered this story, they mentioned the actual release date, but I don't remember when the release date is. It might be February. It might be February, December 28th or 29th. I think it's probably one of those days when it's supposed to be coming out. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. So anyway, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this story in regards of how Madonna was an AIDS activist long before it became this big popular chic thing to do in the mainstream, as so many people have now since then, she ushered the door open or kicked the door open to make it more acceptable for people to support people with HIV and AIDS. But when she was doing it back in the day, it wasn't so popular. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, so now let's lighten up the load. Let's get into some music news because it looks like people are out here living for Cowboy Carter and Brat because the big trades, as in like Billboard, Associated Press, Rolling Stone, Variety, Entertainment Weekly, and People have pretty much crowned Charli XCX's Brat and Beyonce's Cowboy Carter as their favorite records of 2024. And I want to shout out That Grape Juice for this story because that's basically where I got this article from. So let me put this old everybody's favorite album cover up here. So it says the end of every year brings with it the highly anticipated best of list from entertainment's biggest publications, a tally that often activates stan groups to dizzying heights of delight or disappointment, depending on where their faves rank. So, this year, and I didn't know that Charli calls her fans angels. So they said this year, the Angels and Beehive, the prospective fan groups of Charli XCX and Beyonce, found themselves stacking up bragging rights like no other at the 2024 releases from their divas of choice. Brat and Cowboy Carter landed atop of the critical year and lists of some of the industry's most respected tastemakers. So, according to, it says the BBC, number one, their number one album was Charli XCX, and number two was Beyonce. And they said released in June, Brat became the soundtrack to the summer. This is what the BBC wrote. Now, according to Billboard, they've got Charli XCX as their number one choice, and Beyonce comes in second. With Billboard saying Cowboy Carter is not a result of Beyonce proving herself to the gatekeepers of the country genre, who previously pushed her away. It's a repudiation, reclamation, and rebuilding of all manner of Americana in the name of Black excellence. And this is according to Billboard staff. Now, according to the Hollywood Reporter, they put Beyonce as their number one choice and Charli XCX as their second choice. They said at 27 tracks, Cowboy Carter is more than an album. It's supreme art that also serves as a history lesson. Well, I do call it that what Beyonce was doing with Cowboy Carter was edutainment, that she was educating and also entertaining. Just to give you all the history, but she also was going to give you some bops and some vocals because she was singing on this record. So I got to give her props for that. Now, according to Variety, Charli XCX had multiple rankings as their number one choice, and Beyonce also had multiple rankings as their number two choice, saying Brat is a multimedia phenomenon, but it's all based around this music, which finds Charli not only evolving her sound, but also overhauling her lyrical approach with, deeply personal commentary as well as character studies. Shared one editor at Variety, while another said Cowboy Carter is the type of album to be explored, studied, marveled at. It reveals itself as a finely layered opus with every spin. Well, yeah, that's another thing too, like with the stacking of the vocals and all these different things, like sounds that you didn't know that was in there. Beyonce puts all these little hidden situations in it. It's like, oh, I didn't hear that before. And it reveals itself. Now, according to the Associated Press, they had Beyonce as their number one choice, with Charli XCX as their second choice, saying Beyonce's Act 2 Cowboy Carter is a 78-minute, 27-track masterclass in inherited and uncelebrated histories, pulling from the Black and Brown performers at the core of country's canon and providing visibility to oft overlooked progenitor. And then Entertainment Weekly, they had Charli XCX as their first choice, with Beyonce coming in second, saying it's impossible to deny the cultural impact Brat had on 2024. Cheeky, hedonistic, and refreshingly vulnerable. Charli XCX's slick, dirty pop juggernaut became the lime green inspiration for countless memes and more. And then we have People putting Beyonce as their number one choice, with Charli XCX coming in second, saying moving from ballroom to honky tonk, not honky tonk, Queen Bey made a country album her way, an ambitious genre-defying opus, said People magazine. And Rolling Stones has Charli XCX as their number one choice, with Beyonce coming in second. So it's like they're flipping back and forth depending on who you go to, saying Brat is not only a hyperpop roller coaster of post-Saturn return, early 30s anxieties, and it girl bravado, but is also a still growing, evolving project that XCX has continued to build upon with bonus tracks and full remix album that flips the original versions of the songs on their head. This is according to Rolling Stone. So yeah, that's their opinion on this. And what the people over there at That Grape Juice is saying, because they stay being shady as hell over there. So one person said, Charli XCX's Brat is number one overrated as album. Another person said where the was all this love for CC when it came out. Why is it coming from nowhere out of the blue? Who are you talking about? This doesn't make no damn sense. And who the hell is CC? And somebody had the nerve to say, I agree, Brat is giving Camilla a CXOXO. Oh, hell no, y'all wish. Because first of all, there's no hyperpop type of stuff, if you really think about it, on CXOXO. And yes, I actually took the time to listen to that damn album. And there may be songs in there that kind of plays in that, but it's mostly like, it's got some ballads, it's got some hip hop. It's kind of, it feels more like an urban record versus a hyperpop record. I think that was probably the aesthetic. So they go, Brat by Charli XCX's fun and bop album. Cowboy Carter is too serious for me. It's for more mature audience, aka aunties and grannies. Nothing wrong with that. Well, I wouldn't go there and say that it's for aunties and grannies, but I do feel like because Beyonce is now a woman of a certain age, where she's in her early 40s, that she is going to kind of go more into a more adult contemporary direction with some of her music. And yeah, it does play a little serious at times, but Beyonce has given us bops over the years, which she doesn't take herself too seriously, but she wanted to give you like some art with her music. And so, yeah. Is there anything else anybody wants to say? That said, almost all albums would be great bodies of works if vibes alone was the criteria. SOS by SZA is trash, as is Brat. Oh, now why y'all going to hit SZA with that damn stray? She just released a long ass version of of her newest album anyway. Saying another person, I knew it was all about the mindless vibes with you. Hence, you thinking I Am is Beyonce's best album. Well, I think they throwing shade at somebody else. So another person said Lemonade number one for I guess they have Lemonade 4, Dangerously in Love, Beyonce visual album, Renaissance, and Cowboy Carter, six-way tie for best album. So I guess they just ramble on about a bunch of nothing. But I do want to ask you this. What do you think of this story in regards to them tying up um, Charli XCX's Brat, Beyonce's Cowboy Carter as the best albums of 2024? Do you actually agree with this assessment? Or do you feel like both albums was overrated and y'all didn't particularly care for them? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Now, speaking of albums, let's get into my picks of the best albums of 2024. I didn't even put like numbers as to what albums was the best of 2024. But I was like, should I do a whole scrollation situation where it's like we could just go through, hold on, the list of records on what were my favorite albums of 2024. And I definitely want to hear from you guys as to what were your favorite albums of 2024 that we can go through as a class, because I'm sure y'all had a lot and I didn't even keep track of how many. I probably got like a good 30 up in here. And yeah, I didn't like do a whole countation situation. But anyway, to get to the situation at hand, so usually when I come up with this whole situation, because 2024 is coming to an end as of next week. I think, what is it? Next Tuesday? Because that'll be New Year's Eve. Well, today we're in Christmas Eve, so it's a week from today, the end of 2024. And then we got to hold on to our butts because we're going to be dealing with this shit show that is this idiot president who's going to come up in here and ruin the rest of this country for the next 4 years. So basically the records define, basically how I came up with these choices and everything when it comes to the music. These are like the records that define my expectations, basically kept me on my orgasmic toes and kept me utterly speechless to the point that I didn't want to bore you with why I loved each album. And that's what I wrote down and stuff, because, I based my choices over how the albums made me feel, and said albums had me full of joy, had my boy puss, and all up in my feelings. Not necessarily in that order, though. So without further ado, let's get into my favorite albums that I couldn't get out of my head in 2024 below. So my first pick that we have would be Oh wait, I gotta scroll all the way down because I was like, I had all of this. So I basically had the Dare What's Wrong with New York. Now I did like this record. The one thing I liked about the album is that yeah, it did remind me of like LCD Sound System. I think I've had a conversation with Onyx, where friend to the show, who was talking about that they didn't like the album because it reminded them too much of LCD Sound System. There's some songs on there that actually standouts, but I do feel like that it was overly like um I like when people take inspiration. Wait, what did I do? Oh, did I have the wrong thing? I like when people take inspiration in so many ways, but if you're going to take inspiration, like do your own thing. Don't be a carbon copy. So now the next album. Wait, this is not the picture that I want to use. What happened? I was like trying to make it, yeah. Now it's just like changing up. So I guess I'm gonna just leave it like that. So the next album that I have is Drag Race alum season 16, Lux Noir London, Light in the Dark. So you know, like I love my Drag Race girls. And the Drag Race girls definitely be, some of y'all, it'd be a choice with some of the songs that y'all put out, but there's some relatively talented girls out here that be putting out some good music. And Lux is somebody who definitely has a great voice. If you have not seen her yet in Drag the Musical, that's currently on Broadway with Alaska Thunderfuck, is a show that she created. Speaking of Alaska, I like a lot of her music too. And she's another one who's immensely talented. I know some people was like, oh, she can't sing. Yes, she can, because I was hearing her sing live. And she does her Alaska thing. So she sings in the way she needs to sing. And I always say that it's not really all about that. For me, singing got to be, because people like to identify singing as like Aretha, Mariah, Celine, and all those. I said, if you can carry a note and you put out music, then you're a singer. But if you got a song, you sing in your own unique way, then you a singer. And so that's what I feel about Alaska. But as far as Lux can sing her ass off. So if y'all have not heard, listen to her latest album. I think this might be her first album, but I know she's put out music before, called A Light in the Dark, or Light in the Dark. Now, our next person, since this thing when I acted a damn fool, let me see if I can try it again. Is we have LSDXOXO Dogma. Now I like LXDXOXO because it's like a lot of that electronic sound. They kind of go a little, I like my electronic because it reminds me a bit of like, what you would try to describe with Charli XCX with a lot of the squiggly noises and all the other stuff. So that's like me getting my rave on in that situation. I guess it's going to keep messing with how I want to do things over here. I need you to cooperate with me, machine. Okay, so our next song, because this is like pissing me off, Rufus Du Sol, Inhale, Exhale. Now, speaking of Rufus Du Sol, they actually put out a like a New Year's, because if you have Apple Music, they put out like these New Year's end of the year, what do you call it, like mixes, like DJ mixes and all other stuff. If y'all get a chance, definitely check their music out. They've done stuff with Justice. If you like Justice, which is also an album that's on my list as one of their albums that came out this year, is on my favorite of the year list. Rufus Du Sol is another one that puts it out, and they vocally he reminds me of like the lead singer of Tame Impala, and I know he's done stuff with them as well as Justice. So I believe Rufus Du Sol is from France. Or are they from Australia? I can't remember off the top of my head. Look at me getting locations messed up. So so yeah, if y'all get a chance, definitely check out Inhale Exhale. They I just like his vocals on that. Now, another artist that I'm definitely feeling out here is Villano Antelano called Miss Misogyny, who, I live for my Brazilians. A lot of the Brazilian artists like Tiago Pantaleo, I like him. I don't necessarily I mean, what's that other one named? The drag queen. Her music is okay. I've been trying to like her, but she always be sounding like she's screaming when she sings. So I can't really get into her. I be trying though. But Pablo Vittar. That's why I don't know why I couldn't think of her damn name. Like I be wanting to like Pablo Vittar, and I be liking some of her stuff. But yeah, I'm like, girl, everything don't need to be at a high. You don't need to be like the Alicia Keys of Brazilian pop music. Like you don't need to always be screaming your shit and hitting that high register, and then the voice don't go no damn where. So yeah, so if you get a chance, Villano Antolano, I think one of my friends from Spain, Jovan, introduced me to her, and I've been into her music, and I've had other people introduce me to her as well, because I do listen to a lot of like Brazilian pop star, especially if they're of the queer spectrum, because they be putting out some bops. So I've been listening to her, but definitely if you get a chance, check her out. Now, another album that I particularly liked that was produced by Max Martin, Conan Gray. I was so upset that I didn't get to work his show. I think it was around the same time. Like I think it was back to back. I think his show was either before or after Sabrina Carpenter because they toured around the same time at Madison Square Garden, which is where I work. And I was so upset that I didn't get to work his show. I would have liked to have worked his show. But because I like Conan and I want to see how he is live, but I definitely love Found Heaven. It kind of gave me some glam rock vibes. It was giving me very much David Bowie tease, a little bit of Freddie Mercury, and I do like when you see like this younger up and coming generation, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha generation that looks back at a lot of the music that I kind of grew up on or I was introduced to, and incorporating it into their music, but bringing something relatively new and interesting to it. So shout out to Conan Gray. Now, my next fave of mine is A.G. Cook, Britpop. Now, it took me a while to get around to this record because I was so engulfed in Charli XCX and listened to a lot of other hyperpop albums, like even Sophie. So I listened to Sophie's record that came out way later before I listened to A.G. Cook. And I just happened to first of all, I didn't even know A.G. Cook put out a record. And so I just happened to be scrolling and it was getting like the hyperpop recommendations. And so it was like, I said, oh, wait, it's the frequent producer or frequent collaborator of Charli XCX. Let me check out his stuff. And I actually liked the album. One of the things I loved about the album is the fact that the record, the songs were longer than the 2.5 minutes. Like there are those songs on there that do those short and sweet tracks, but he had a lot of songs on the album that went on fairly long. And I like when artists do that. I'm like, I don't know why we're beholden to this thing about TikTok and doing a 2 minute, 2.5 minute, or minute and a half type song. Like to me, that's not a song because I need those. You don't always have to give the chorus, the bridge, the hook. You don't have to always follow that category, but give me something. Give me a little fat and some meat on the bone. Don't just give me the damn bone and have me trying to bite off whatever's like suck out the bone marrow, and that's all I'm gonna get to eat. So it is a good record. Definitely check that out if you are a hyperpop fan or if you're a fan of electronic music. Now, the next category, speaking of which, I had to put in my girl Sophie, who, is no longer with us, who was also a frequent collaborator of Charli XCX. This album is really good. Especially like her song, the first single that she did with Kim Petras. So there's a couple of bops and stuff on there, and I kind of wish that we still had Sophie around, but unfortunately she isn't. She passed away, and she was trying to climb up on top of the thing and look at the moon, and she kind of slipped and fell. And so, but the music, I think her brother helped put the record together, the posthumous album together. So I was loving the music and stuff that's on there. And so if you have not heard Sophie's latest record, definitely check it out because it is a bop. Now let's get into some homosexuals and let's get into Jodie, who I've been raving about a lot lately, and he is an openly gay pop star. I even saw like a recent video that he did at a nightclub, and I was like, okay, you better turn it. So this album is actually the extended version of his Sex with Myself record, and it's called Sex with Myself, and it lasts longer. So it has the songs from the cuts from his Sex with Myself album, and it actually added like the deluxe. It's like a deluxe version, basically. And so it's got a lot of pretty good songs on it. Um, and yeah, so I was like, I was living for the record. I love someone who is very unapologetic about their sexuality and doesn't want to hide who they are, and is very open about their relationships. The beats are pristine. The lyrics are on point. I was like, some of these songs, I'm like, this is shit I would be singing. So, I'm all about supporting our homosexual pop stars. Now, speaking of homosexual pop stars, we got to support the veteran homosexual pop stars, and that's the Pet Shop Boys with Nonetheless. Now, of course, you know what you're pretty much going to get with a Pet Shop Boys album, the type of synth pop that they do, but I did feel like this was a more mature record, and it was a return to form. After a couple of their recent records, I wasn't really feeling, but nonetheless, I've definitely been keeping this on repeat. So, if you get a chance, definitely check that record out. I kind of wish that they would tour in the U.S., but they never come here. They're always doing overseas, and it's probably because in America they're not that big. Then got to give it to my girl Michaela J, who released her album 33. I was definitely vibing with a lot with her record, and a lot of ways. So definitely, if you get a chance, check that out. Now, record I just discovered literally like 2 weeks ago, and I have had it on repeat. I did not know Becky Hill put out a record. Cause I'm like, I'm always hearing like her in dance music circles. She's always like in rotation whenever I'm at the gym and listen to a lot of her collaborations and things that she's worked on. But I didn't know she put out a record until I just happened to come across the fact that was like, I'm seeing a record in the recommendations. And I was like, let me take a listen. And it is like nonstop. It reminded me of like the 90s when I would listen to a lot of those dance records. And it was like, it's just nonstop from beginning to end, four to the floor dance track. So if and with some powerful vocals. So if you need somebody to give you your life with them dance pops, definitely check that out. Her album, which is called Believe Me Now? Question mark. Now, speaking of Justice, I do have them on the list with their album Hyperdrama. Now, I've always been a fan of Justice. I don't know why I feel like Madonna needs to get on that cross and start singing Live to Tell. That's what that cross is giving. But that's always kind of their signature look with the whole cross situation. And that was pretty good. It's like it kind of reminds me of those days of like when I used to listen to artists like the Chemical Brothers and that sort of thing. So that's what kind of their music reminds me of. But it's like it's that it basically is there. It's that typical record that's going to get the party started. So if you have a chance, definitely check out their latest album, Hyperdrama. Now, my next choice, Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft. I saw her live because I worked her show. That was the one that Madonna was at, and I love this record. Um, had me all up in my feelings, and seeing her perform live just gave me it just gave me a lot more respect for her than I probably hadn't like realized before because I kind of dismissed Billie Eilish. Like I like some of her songs, but I was never like really into her that way because I was like, okay, I'm not her demographic. She's way younger. She's like in her early 20s, but she's very mature for her age. And I just love this. And then seeing how she works and how she puts her songs together and how she performs, she definitely gives a show. So this album definitely hit me hard and soft. Now, usually when it comes to Megan Thee Stallion, albums can be her albums don't really hit me. I always feel like when it comes to Megan Thee Stallion, I feel like I'm always rooting for her to give more. Like being like I just feel like that she's hyped up to be this big thing. And then when you listen to the music, it feels like there's no growth there. There's no change. There's no nothing that comes with that. It's like, okay, it's just Megan, just giving Megan. It's like the same type of beat, same type of stuff. She does give a good concert because I did work her show, the one that she had Glorilla as the opening act, and Cardi B came out and did some shows with her, as in she came out on stage and they did their collaborations. And then her, Glorilla, and Megan did their collaboration. But with this record, I'm like, she definitely was showing stuff. Like I love Mamushi. I liked a lot of the other stuff. And then with Act Two was like some more stuff that came out with that. So Megan definitely was doing her thing this year in regards to this record. Now, one woman that I did miss, and I'm glad that she came back and gave us some music, Shakira. Now, her latest album, Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran. You know, I felt like I was doing Supreme from Drag Race España. But you know how she be talking sometimes, y no la cares. When she be saying that, and don't fuck it up. So when it came down to this, I was like, I was loving this record. She was definitely giving my life with the reggaeton and all the other type of styles that she was doing, was like giving a signature Shakira, but she was also experimenting and trying with other sounds. I know she's about to do her stadium tour in 2025, which I know pissed a lot of people off, but it don't seem like it pissed y'all off enough because a lot of y'all went and bought tickets to the stadium tour after she was supposed to do the arena tour and ended up canceling so that way she could transfer everything over to the arena, which I know proved to be a headache for some, but she made it work and it is what it is. So Shakira out here proving that she is one of the hardest working Latinas in Latin pop music. And she definitely did her thing with this album because I definitely had it on repeat quite a few times in 2024. Now, while I love me some Megan Thee Stallion, you know I am a multitasker when it comes to my female rappers. But I'm sorry, there was one I love slightly more this year, and that's none other than my girl Doshi, who released her album Alligator Bites Never Heal. And this album, in my opinion, was everything. Like I just love the fact that not only did she give us those hard-hitting rap tracks, but she experimented with other sounds as well. Like she was giving us jazz, she was giving us R&B, like and I love how she was just open about her bisexuality and being caught up in a relationship with a man who was dishonest about him also being bisexual and that sort of thing. So Doshi was definitely laying it down and giving us some bops this year and giving us some stuff that I was, living for, especially like with other artists that I haven't heard. Where's she been? LaKaylee 47. Like, I be living for her, but I haven't heard from her in a minute. But Doshi out here definitely doing her thing. And one of the things I will say that I like about her versus other artists, she's giving us album material. Like, she's giving us a full concept. She's giving us like substance. It's not just, okay, I'm just recording a bunch of songs and I'm throwing it together and y'all can just listen to it and let's see which one streamed the highest and which one, it's not, she's not caught up in that Spotify, BS. It's literally, she's giving us a full concept from beginning, middle, and end. And I wish more artists would get into that. So there's that. And now also, speaking of dance albums that we were talking about earlier and queer folks, because, Doshi is a member of the community. She's bisexual, but let's talk about a homosexual, and that's Kaytranada with Timeless. Now Kaytranada, I've always been bumping his stuff for a while now. Like, I've been loving his stuff, and I'm finally excited that he is finally getting his just due in the industry. His production is always on point. Him and Channel Threats, I love their music. I like their music, and I like also Kaytranada and his production, his collaborations, a lot of that stuff. I just love how he goes left field with a lot of his stuff, but also has his foot deeply rooted in house music. So I just love how creative it is, and it feels so soulful when I'm listening to a lot of the music that he does. It would have been nice to see him collaborate with Beyonce, but I'm glad he's doing his thing on his own. And I think at one point he did do a Beyonce collaboration, which he did reveal. It was like a remix or something, and people started dragging him over it. It was some controversy that happened with that. But nevertheless, Kaytranada is that dude. He definitely has been doing his thing, and I've definitely been loving everything he's been doing this year. And I loved his collaboration with Dawn Richard. Well, I've had their collaboration on repeat this year. Now, speaking of people I've had on repeat, and even though I know he's way tall and I want him to sit on my face, let's talk about Omar Apollo. Now, Omar Apollo's God Said No. Now, I know he just be getting in his feelings and talk about his relationship woes and all that other stuff. And to me, I can tolerate him. I don't like getting too much into the relationship type of music. But for some reason, I could tolerate him more than I could tolerate Frank Ocean. I just feel like Frank Ocean just be boring me, and he don't really be giving me my life in regards to the music. But I do like the fact that Omar Apollo's music is similar to what Frank Ocean does, but he seems to be stepping further out of the box and being more experimental in a lot of the stuff that he does. So I'm feeling Omar Apollo. And his latest album, God Said No. And so, if that's an album that you have not heard, I implore you to pay attention and listen to it. Now let's go from another queer artist, and that would be Tyler the Creator with Chromacopia. Chromacopia. I was like, how the hell you say that name? Chromacopia. I cannot tell you how much I love this record. Like, when I was listening to it, it's so weird. It's so out there. It's so Tyler the Creator. And I know he's been on he's been on everybody's best of list. I'm sure if you go on like any of the other critics list of who's their favorite rap album of 2024, they're going to put Tyler the Creator. And I always love how just freaking weird he is and how he just not afraid to step outside the box and just give you something crazy and creative and just out there where the buses don't run. So I'm definitely here for Tyler the Creator's latest. And it's funny how me looking at this album cover, I didn't realize he had a damn mask on. And I am living for the haircut though. It's like giving me some crazy, it's like a weird Gumby type of look. Remember the Gumbies from back in the day when people had those haircuts? Now, another favorite hip hop album that I was living for in 2024, Kendrick Lamar's GNX, which I definitely love that album. It's not only because, Not Like Us, but there's been other songs that is on the record that I absolutely love and is definitely a top fave album of mine. And damn, I forgot off the top of my head. This is why I hate when I draw blanks. Where he uses the sample. When I make music, it makes me dance. I live for that track. I love some old school freestyle. And anytime you use it the right way in a song, I'm here for it. Okay, so we're almost at our final. So we got our top 3 that we're going to get into. So my top 3, Beyonce, Cowboy Carter. Now, I had a love-hate relationship with this record. I'm not going to hold you, but I did. Because there were parts like I live for the idea. And the only reason why it's on my list, it's not something that I've listened to repeatedly, but when I do listen to it, I definitely appreciate the record. I'm here for the whole record as a, in the creativity aspect of it. And I love the fact that Beyonce was in her edutainment bag, which is basically like how I'm going to educate but also entertain you. I'm going to give you the foundation of country music, and that Black people contributed a whole lot to country music before it was gentrified and turned into what it is today. And I want to remind you of the many pioneers that came along before and the people that are currently in this space, like Tanner Riddell and Shabuzi and so many other people that are huge contributors to country music, and incorporate them into this album in some sort of way, but also those that came way before them, and also give you something completely different and creative, and taking country music into a completely different situation. Like Sweet Honey Buckin', I do feel like that is a country trap, but it's got a little hip hop and it's a little left from center. And that's because she worked with Pharrell. I kind of wish she would have worked with Pharrell on a couple of more tracks to kind of take it in that space. Because I did like the idea of like, it is country, but it's Beyonce's take on a country record, which is kind of like what people were saying about Madonna with music. It was like, yeah, I was dabbling in folk music and country and all these other sounds, but it was my spin. I was adding electronic flourishes. I was adding all these other things to it. So it's not a straightforward country album per se, but it does feature all these other things in there. And regardless of her being snubbed by the country music community and the award community and stuff, the one thing I will give props to Beyonce is that, you know what, is sometimes it's not even always about the awards and how many you can collect and have on your mantle. The idea is that you have the power and the ability to go in and create the project and the art that you want to create, because you're at a place that you can do that. And people and it opened a dialogue for people to speculate on the creativity behind this album. And she's not even speaking on it. It's just people coming in saying what they want to say. And I love that in regards of art, that art is subjective. And it shouldn't be, okay, well, Beyonce says it's this, so now I got to follow that. It's whatever you hear in the music and you take away and interpret from what you're listening to. So that's why Cowboy Carter made my list. Now, coming in second, Kylie Minogue's Tension 2. Now, we had Tension. And I have, speaking of love-hate relationship, I did have a love-hate relationship with that record. I felt like the first Tension was a bit uneven for me. There were some songs that worked on that record, but for the most part, there were some songs I'm like, no, it's not fitting in with the theme. I don't feel like that they had like a clear vision or whatever. I just think they just recorded a lot of songs and kind of threw it up on there. Maybe she did have a clear vision, but from my perspective, I just felt like the first Tension did not, it just felt uneven. So then I think Kylie heard from us fans, and I don't know what she call her fans, the lovers. She heard from her fans, and with Tension 2, it feels like a more cohesive dance record. My only issue is what I've had with many other issues. The album's too damn short. Like, it's like 40 minutes. And the songs aren't even like 3 minutes long. Now, don't get me wrong. I know like pop music is like, the longest pop song I would think would be about 3.5 minutes. But for the most part, when it comes to pop songs, the pop songs in this record were way too short. And I felt like, because she was in so many ways trying to garner the same success that she got with Padam Padam. And Padam Padam was sort of like, in my opinion, a happy accident. That wasn't like she was intending to just pander to the TikTok audience, to pander to the social media listeners. It just happened that way, especially when radio was trying to be shady and ageist and kind of put her out of passion. They want to play her music. They want to categorize it somewhere else. But social media was like, oh no, we're going to take this song. It created like an identity of its own, and it just blew up. And I felt like that maybe Kylie's team was trying to capture that same success. And I don't think that they were able to find a song that could capture that. It would have been nice to get a couple of more singles like Taboo. I really feel like that song, which has got ABBA vibes, should have been a next single. I don't even know if she's going to release any more singles. Right now, I know she's rehearsing for this upcoming Tension tour. So I know we're supposed to be getting that, and that's going to kick off in next year, early next year. So I know she's knee deep into that. So maybe she's not going to release them on singles or videos. But I do feel like, but I'm hoping that she performs a lot of the songs from Tension 2, Intention, and Disco on this upcoming tour. So I'm really feeling like I'm hoping that it's going to be heavily into that. So that's why I chose Tension 2 over the first Tension. And my number one choice, if you haven't pretty much figured it out, because I haven't mentioned her yet, Brat. But it's not the original version. It's Brat, and it's completely different, but still Brat. So I like, in my opinion, I do like the original album. And that's been on everybody's radar. But for me personally, I have been listening to this version of Brat versus the original version of Brat. I've had this one on repeat way more. And I love this. I love the fact that how far Charli XCX has come, because I've been a fan of hers since the True Romance era. So to see how far, and I, in Pop 2 and all the other stuff, like I love a lot of those earlier records. You saw the potential in what she was doing, especially like in the whole electro pop scene. And where she was then versus where she is now. So seeing her glow up, seeing the huge success of what's happening, and the fact that there's this rave music, and I feel like that this album, Brat, and it's completely different, but still Brat, I feel like it plays more in the wheelhouse of the rave sound than what we got from the Brat record. So that's why these are my favorites, and these are my choices as the top albums of 2024. So I say all to you, what do you think of this list, and what are your choices? If you've been listening to a lot of music, I know a lot of the people that are in here with me, we talk about music a lot on the show. So I know y'all got faves. So I definitely want to hear from y'all in regards to this list, as well as what are your favorite albums of 2024. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Now, speaking of comments, let's get to some of these. Robert says the one that says Brat sucks are upset that Eternal Sunshine wasn't on the best albums list or Grammy love. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some, because when I was putting my list together, I was looking for photos and all other stuff. I did see that some people did have Eternal Sunshine as their top album of 2024. It wasn't a lot of people, but there were some sites that did have that album on there. But like I said, it wasn't that many. And yeah, they probably are bitter about it. Robert says Torture Poets Department, the anthology Brat remix album. So we both liked Brat remix album. Rainbow 25, Mariah Carey reissue, Tension 2, Heat EP. Oh my God, I totally forgot to add that as on my list, because I did like Heat, Cowboy Carter, Hit Me Hard and Soft, and Guts. I totally forgot about Olivia Rodrigo. But I know she put out Gut Spilled. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, Heat EP was one of my favorite. Oh my God, I totally forgot to add. See, now I got to add more to the list. I forgot to add Heat EP, and I also forgot to add Afters with Adam Lambert. Those are also two of my favorites. Hold on, let me write this down before I forget. I like having a brain because I'm like, wait a minute. There were some albums, there were some EPs and things that came out this year that I forgot to add. So there is Heat and Afters. So I gotta write those down and add those later on to my list, because I'm probably gonna be expanding it. Okay, so they said Brat was definitely my favorite album this year. Alligator Bites, Never Heal, Cowboy Carter, Torture Poets Department, and Aphex Twin's archive album. I think I forgot that Aphex Twin put out an album as well. Olivia Rodrigo reissue of her second studio album, What I Need, from 2025. Ellie Goulding, Jade, Perry, and Leanne, all three Little Mix girls, are slaying me as solo acts. Fuck Chelsea. Well, it's funny how it seemed like even though Little Mix will probably not get back together, their solo stuff actually is hitting. He said also Daydream 30th anniversary edition of Mariah Carey. That's already going to be a huge deal. Jagged Little Pill 30th anniversary, and Chemistry 20th anniversary set by Girls Aloud, Wishbone Forever 25. There's a lot of anniversary records coming. By the Spice Girls album only flopped in the US, so I hope they do it anyway for us US fans. Or you might have to get it via import or something or another, or it'll probably be available on streaming. But if you want to buy the physical copy, you're probably going to have to do a whole import situation. Apparently, Omar physicals show peen full. Oh yeah, I heard that. He shows his dick in Queer. I'm like, chill. I need to see that movie. I put my mouth on it. And it said fully erect in his cheeks, but it was a first limited pressing pre-order. He even said he might not do it until a Democrat wins the White House or the U.S. is no more because I hope, but it's scary that queer sex might be illegal if the Republicans, oh please, them closet cases, you really think they're gonna make gay sex illegal? Make sure to get Project 2025 done before the term is over. But I've already heard so far in politics that they're not making it easy for Donald Trump. He thought he could just, day one in the stroke of a pen. Sir, this is not how it works. Um, not like us wasn't on. Oh yeah, well I know it wasn't, but I'm saying that I like the song, but I do like the album as well. Not slim, but where they outnumber the Democrats in House of Reps and House of Senate. They don't own a majority, but a slim margin. So we're safe for now. But y'all get off your ass and outnumber MAGA. Well, we'll see, because I feel like after Trump is gone, what is the future of MAGA? Because nobody's gonna be able to match what this whole thing about Trump. They all been trying to be out here and do what he does, but I just don't feel like a JD Vance or any of these other people of Vivek. They're a bunch of damn grifters. Like they're not. Nobody's taking these idiots seriously, and they don't match the energy of him. So once he goes, I feel like MAGA's gonna go to it and just reshape it something else in 2026 to make sure it's there. But yeah, we got to get out. People got to get out for those midterms. I was listening to Cowboy Carter yesterday, and I definitely realized how much I love the first half of the album. But I was agreeing that I was thinking that too. That um, I do feel the same. That the first half of the album is really good. The second half, it kind of just goes the rail. So I think like maybe there should have been some edits done. Should have cut down a couple of the songs. But I added to my list because it was like she gets an A for effort, in my opinion. I really hope Brat wins AOTY at the Grammys. I would be so sad if she doesn't. Now, that would be the shock of all shocks. That it's like, what, we're not going to give it to Beyonce or Taylor Swift. But I'm like, Taylor Swift got enough AOTYs. She don't need another damn one. But if Charli XCX get it, child, that would be the ultimate cackle, because Charli XCX and Taylor don't get along, right? And it's because of the whole bandmate situation. Like, Charli's fiance is in a band with Matty Healy. So their whole relationship thing is not going to work in that way. But see them being there, and they're going to be on opposite tables or whatever the case is. And if Brat actually wins, that would be the gag of all gags. But I know they're saying, oh, give it to Beyonce, give it to Beyonce. And it's like, it would feel like, to me now, it would feel like if they give it to Beyonce, is because Jay-Z won that damn rant last Grammys, where he was up in here talking about um how his wife has been. I'm paraphrasing, but it just felt like that it was sour grapes because Beyonce wasn't given the AOTY award Grammy when there should have been many a times that she should have won it. But it's up to her peers. Her peers is who vote for these awards, and if they feel like Beyonce don't deserve to get the AOTY, why are people upset? She got to probably get out there and politic, because that's what all these award winnings is politics. No shade. Imagine if Jaleel White starts a child, it'll be the death of all of us. But not really, because I'm feel no waste time. I'm gonna still do what I do, but if he does a podcast, don't do one by yourself. You got to get a co-host or something on or maybe he needs to do one of those podcasts, like some of the Pod Meets World, where they like Family Matters. They sit and they watch all the episodes and they just reminisce about the show. Maybe that'll redeem him in some sort of way. But when it comes down to it, it's just whenever he opens his mouth, it's just stupid stuff comes out. So I don't know if a podcast would be a good idea. Brat Sincere by Khalid. Oh yeah, I forgot he put out an album. Totally forgot about that. Or he put out some music. Brat Sincere by Khalid, Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter, Songs of a Lost World by The Cure. Forgot The Cure put out an album too. He said they're pushing for shit. I don't know why. But y'all gonna do him like you did Kamala. Y'all got him hidden in the background, and then you're gonna usher him out when and then we forgot you was even around. You even existed. So we're gonna get back down to that. Okay, so now let's get into some messiness. Our final topic, which is the worst songs of 2024 compiled by Variety. Because Variety messy. So I was like, oh, this will be a good thing to do with the class. So let me use this picture. Because this pretty much sums up who's on that list. One of the people. So according to Variety, it said, no one mourns the wicked, but we do take it upon ourselves to eulogize the truly awful every year about this time. Excuse me. Some pop artists seem to be outrightly trolling to get onto a list like this. You don't release a song called Think You the Shit, Fart, thinking you're going to after a Grammy, while others at least started out with the best intentions. Take Woman's World, which ended up being an anthem of empowerment as intended, if empowering a global sense of schadenfreude counts. Sometimes a song doesn't reach peak wretched until the music video hits, and yeah, such was the case with Katy Perry's single, which on its own merely seemed like a kindergartner's attempt to remake Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves or I'm Every Woman. It took the video to make it clear just how confused everyone involved in the enterprise was, even as it was the audience that got blamed for being mixed up when we had to be informed that the first half was supposed to be a send-up of sexism, while the second half was honestly woman glorifying. For the record, the satirical and sincere parts seem interchangeable. Surely this could have been avoided by putting it in front of a focus group, or was there a focus group that whispered amongst themselves and collectively decided to prank Perry? It brings no joy to say this, by the way, speaking as somebody who often loves Katy, sometimes it's hard to be a cat. Well, I'm glad you openly admitting that. Now, one thing we can't help noticing, out of the 15 tracks in the worst of 2024, 8 have featured guests or involved collabs, all of them mismatches where the artists just brought out the worst in each other. And this isn't even including other matchups that could just as easily have made our list, like Imagine Dragons and J Balvin's equally misbegotten Eyes Closed. I don't even remember that damn song. Remember, kids, in music, the buddy system can result in a bomb even more readily than a boom. Well, you're not talking about Benson Boone, are you? So let's take a trip over to Variety so we don't just keep looking at this big ass foot and see what the peoples are saying. Well, Variety, about what's their worst song. So, number one, Woman's World, which we should not be surprised this is on the list. So was 143 the worst pop record of all time? No, but it failed to live up to the throne-regating ambitions that Katy Perry envisioned for it. The rollout for 143, handicapped by reports of Dr. Luke, would contribute across all of its tracks, hit a wall with the July release of Woman's World, a faux feminist anthem about as tone-deaf as calling something purposeful pop. Wait, did she seriously call that purposeful pop? That song was terrible, Chad. I'm like, what is the purpose? What is the reason? But anyway, so they said mainstream pop has largely skewed confessional over the past decade, with the glassy remove of Woman's World fell woefully out of step with the times. Not to mention that the lyrical construct is about as creative as singing the ABCs, sexy, confident, so intelligent. As how she sang it, yeah, is a slog of a way to start a song, and it only goes downhill from there. Yes, it does. And that's not even the damn first song. Now, of course, Ice Spice, You Think You the Shit, Fart. I remember Armand Wiggins was talking about this song was a bop or whatever. I'm like, sir, if you think this is a bop, that's probably why your music ain't selling. But I was just sitting there like, no. First of all, this song is trash. Ice Spice is trash. And I really don't understand what people see in her. I want to put this picture up because JoJo Siwa is on this list too. But let's get into Miss Ice Spice, who do look like, I ain't gonna go there. Because somebody said she looked like she got Down syndrome. But let's get into this. So they said introducing Miss Poopy. Maybe, just maybe, we could have laughed this one off. At the very least, we could have forgotten about and remembered it now as a cringy novelty from the year 2024. Unfortunately, and maybe even surprisingly for Ice Spice, most of the world is still not vibing with songs about feces and farts, or any music that she puts out for that matter. This is especially disappointing because it was the lead single from Spice's debut album Y2K, what was supposed to be the climax to momentum that started with a Grammy nomination and a smash hit EP like question mark. We were never expecting earth-shattering lyrical greatness, but even with a song like Munch, Spice was far from the flailing and vapid delivery she gives with lines like "Bitches be quick, but I'm quicker. Bitches be thick, but I'm thicker. She could be rich, but I'm richer." Yeah. She literally said that foolishness. I was not listening to her music. Okay, so now we're gonna get into Nicki Minaj, Bigfoot. Highlight is they said hindsight is 2020, so it's no surprise that Nicki Minaj's Bigfoot set the tone for such a horribly contentious year. Megan Thee Stallion's Hiss poked Minaj just far enough over the edge with the now infamous reference to her husband being a sex offender to light the firestorm that birthed the nearly 5-minute crisis manifesto. Megan was the obvious victor even before Hiss became her first #1 solo hit, while Minaj was embarrassingly outlandish in her deliveries and threats. Minaj is no stranger to problematic contributions to rap music, but this is a hard listen for anyone that appears far from a seasoned pro. There are so many perplexing verses, but the most unsettling portion comes at the end when Minaj directs her insults to Megan in ASMR. Why she chose to release an a cappella version is beyond us. Well, yeah, that song was a hot ass mess. It's like, well, we know it seemed like a lot of the people from Young Money, y'all not good at battle rapping or reading people down to the floor because Drake got his ass whooped by Kendrick Lamar, and Nicki, no shade, got mollywopped by Megan. It's just not in y'all DNA. Y'all good at the bops and the pop songs, but y'all not good at reading bitches down to the floor. It's all right. Everybody can't be well versed in everything. So now let's get into this one that talked about she was going to bring she was inventing gay pop or whatever. Girl, you need to figure out who you are as an artist before you even try to invent any damn thing. But anyway, so they talk about what better way to wash off the Nickelodeon steak than rip a page from the Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus playbook. Now, JoJo Siwa decided to shed her skin off of dated ass pop songs and rebrand as an edgy pop star with her debut single Karma, where she establishes up front that she's a bad girl and with child. You ain't pregnant. But that's only in theory. On this tepid 2011 sounding track, Siwa is unconvincing in her Good Girl Gone Bad overhaul with a hook and aesthetic that evoke the lifeless thump of a Chuck E. Cheese jingle. Turns out she was right about one thing. She should have known better. Who y'all are reading? I live for this. Hey, I just don't understand the whole point of JoJo Siwa. But girl, you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out who the hell you are. Now, speaking of chicks that need to go back to figure out who the hell they are and go back to the drawing board, let's talk about Camila Cabello with this Playboy Cardi I Love It song, which, child, sound like you was trying to be icona pop, but this song is far from iconic. So Cabello's I Love It is, hold on, I went down too far. That's what I get for throwing shade. Is a multilingual single. Camila is singing in English, and Playboy Cardi is rapping in, well, 8 months later, our greatest linguists are still trying to figure that one out. It's fun imagining the recording session in which the rapper was dragged into the studio in his pajamas, did some murmuring without even being woken up, and sleepwalked back to the limo, even as the producer said, sure, we could do something with that. At least there's no trouble translating Camila's part, which consists almost entirely of repeating the title phrase. Honestly, the production isn't bad, and the whole track is less terrible than it's just hilarious. But you have to imagine what the folks who laid out big bucks for the music video were hoping for more than a collective "That's a Music" response and a number 81 peak on the Hot 100. Damn, that's as far as she got. Well, they need to put her man up in here too, with worst album of her ex-man, because nobody went and bought his stuff. Now, the next song, Tom McDonald featuring Ben Shapiro. Now, I'm going to say this before we get to this thing. Anything when you add this old high-voiced heifer, where it sounded like he was giving head to a box of helium, a tube of helium, you should have known that this song was going to be trash, because Ben Shapiro's an idiot. And I ain't never heard of this Tom McDonald dude. It's funny how you get these white boys that try to embody Black culture, hip hop culture, because it was founded by Black people. or people of color, I should say. So y'all up in here trying to culturally appropriate, but y'all be the main ones, Ben Shapiro, that is a bona fide racist. So MAGA rap, child, I hope it goes the way of MAGA and sachets away forever. I'm a poet and I know it. I just rhyme. But anyway, so MAGA rap is a subgenre that will never die as much as, who said that? As much as a star of the genre like McDonald tries to go out with his way to kill it. The wrestler turned wordsmith rhymes here from start off as an unedited list of right-wing talking points. There's only two gender, boys and girls. I'm not ashamed because I'm white. Go woke, go broke. No hope is pathetic. Are you serious that it said go woke, go broke? I was wondering where that line came from because I've heard people up in here making that comment. I think it was Kyle Kalinske made that comment on his show because I watch a lot of progressive politics on social media. And they had that whole go woke, go broke situation. I'm like, oh, so that's who said that foolishness? Well, I guess y'all gonna go broke. And said, and then when he runs out of ultra conservative cliches and starts repeating himself, he asks the question no one else can or will. What would Ben do? And brings in the man himself as his wingman. All my people download this. Let's get a Billboard #1, Shapiro says. That didn't happen, although the single did peak at number 16 on the strength of those marching orders. Now, Shapiro's rap is a thing of wonder. It's like he's approximating a crude version of a robotic voice he imagines AI would sound like when just feeling his voice into actual, or it says feeing, when just feeding his voice into actual AI would produce more lifelike result. I haven't heard the song, nor do I want to. Then they have Ye and Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign, Carnival. I still haven't heard that music. I told y'all, once Kanye started losing his damn mind and going off the rails, I stopped trying to pay attention to what the hell he was doing and what he was about. So they basically said Carnival's easily one of Ye's most inferior hit singles, and that's saying a lot. Never mind that its chorus, provided by the Inter Milan Ultras, is the worst kind of drunk chant you'd hear at a soccer game. That type of gross misogyny Ye consistently invokes. On Carnival, Ye dials in with crass lyrics, crass even by his standards, that set a shudder through the track. Anybody pissed off, gotta make him drink the urine. Ew. Now I'm Ye Kelly, bitch. Now I'm Bill Cosby, bitch. Being an edgelord usually requires some sort of shock value, yet Carnival feels artless and above all tactless. And that's because Kanye's not hungry anymore. Kanye hasn't been hungry in a long time. And that's why he continues to put out poop, because he think he the shit. He gonna keep putting out shit like Ice Spice. Then they said Pitbull featuring John Bon Jovi. First of all, I didn't even know Pitbull was still making music. Pitbull always been kind of cheesy, although I do be liking him in them suits because he be having that moose knuckle. But then again, when it comes, I'm like, that sounds like the unlikeliest of pairs. And then this here, like it's on the worst list. I'm like, I can only imagine that. That's kind of like with Coldplay. Aren't they supposed to be a rock band, but they kind of doing like this synth poppy type stuff? I'm like, okay, if you like it, I love it. So what was the point of this? That's what they asking. If I had my guess, Pitbull remixing John Bon Jovi's It Overplayed It's My Life was a calculated attempt at expanding his demographic to exclude white baby boomers. In a convoluted way, it could have also been both artists' attempts at striking soundbite heaven or TikTok gold. That's what it feels more like. That you were pandering to get that whole TikTok viral situation. Which you can kind of tell when artists be really pandering to the TikTok audience, where it feels like, okay, this song was literally made for TikTok. And then you hear it and it's like trash. So Pitbull's lackluster rhyming over the It's My Life chorus for 2 minutes is really not worth following that initial curiosity you may feel when you see Pitbull featuring John Bon Jovi. Save your energy and listen to an AI version instead. Now, the next song they went and picked, David Guetta featuring One Republic. Now, I didn't even know David Guetta was still doing music. It's funny how I think I've had people on the show talking about, so-and-so need to work with David Guetta. David Guetta, I feel like, has kind of lost his way, kind of like Timbaland. Where it's like, oh, y'all were good at the time when y'all were good, but now it's just like the artistic creativity, the the inspiration it seems like it's not there anymore. And you just giving us just basic pop tracks. So the year 2010 called and it wants its sound back. And that's another thing too. A lot of their music sound dated since I was bringing them two up. David Guetta is stuck in the past on his single I Don't Want to Wait. Is that that's not the song? Why am I thinking when I think I Don't Want to Wait, I'm thinking the theme song from Dawson's Creek, but I know it's not the same song. So they said they called One Republic one of the most generic mainstream pop songs, or calling it this song, to grace our presence this year. Even the message of the song, let's make tonight the weekend, I don't want to wait, got no reason not to celebrate, sings Ryan Tedder, feels like an overt bid to impact bar mitzvah playlists, or at least a radio DJ's Friday night mix. For two artists who have consistently elbowed their way into pop's good graces, there should be more to a song like this. And yet, I don't know who Bailey Zimmerman is, nor do I care. We got Julia Fox. I did hear that she did release a song, and I think it was she performed that song at Charli XCX's one of her club events, because I remember seeing that on YouTube where she was performing. So they call it Down the Drain. It's on their worst list. Not every actor is meant to cross over into music. As if she just discovered the Meredith Brooks 90s hit Bitch. For the first time, I wanted to dumb it down to her own electropop remake. Fox sings, I'm a bitch, I'm a girl, I'm a mother, I'm a whore. And that's practically all she sings because this is one minimalist tune. But then there's the Maximus music video, which begins and ends with Fox transporting her son to school, but otherwise consists of a wild, somewhat incomprehensible ride in which she plays the vengeful dominatrix. The single is probably meant to be more of a teaser for her memoir and the same name, then spearheaded for a full-on move into music. If so, we could be forgiven as quickly as forgotten. So if Julia Fox thought she wanted to get in music, sis, don't do it. Then he said Lisa and Rosalia. I only listened to Lisa's album once. So I don't even know if this song is even on her new album. Or did Lisa even release an album? Or is it, wait, so now I'm getting my Blackpink girls confused because Rose put out an album. So they said deep breaths. Individually, Rosalia and Lisa are virtuosos in crafting immersive worlds to amplify their music. Each an exceptional vocalist in her own right. Both are masters of curation, bringing unique aesthetics and extend into their production styles. Together, they unfortunately fall short on New Woman, a collaboration that sounds great in theory, but fails in practice. Lisa starts on her own, making the statement that she's set on a new path of edgy experimentation, hence the title of the track. The upbeat tempo comes to a screeching halt at around the 1 minute mark. What? Oh. They said, and suddenly a completely new song begins. Rosalia enters feels disjointed, an obvious marker that artists recorded their parts separately, and it doesn't get any better when Lisa picks back up. So yeah, that's why I always say, like, you gotta have that chemistry in the studio. When y'all do things separately, sometimes you can make it work, actually, if somebody's somewhere else and they can record their parts. But when it's like you don't have a producer that's smart enough to knows how to put that together, then yeah, it's gonna show that it's bad. Then they said, well, y'all should not be surprised. Anything with Jason Derulo, you know it's gonna be trash. But apparently he decided to work with Michael Bublé on a song called Spicy Margarita. So now, if it seems Jason Derulo has released the same song multiple times for the last 10 years, it's because he has. Derulo frequently relies on samples, and Spicy Margarita follows that practice, adding an extra thick layer of commercial pop to the melody of Dean Martin's Sway, which Bublé covered on his 2003 self-titled album. Any song that compares a woman you met in Cabo to a Spicy Margarita is also such a been there, done that. There's really no point to you clicking play on the provided video, but it's there if you want to waste nearly 5 minutes of your life. Well, I've never liked Jason Derulo. I always thought he was like corny. It's like in a world of Marios and Chris Browns and Ushers and even a Jacquees, we got some damn Jason Derulo who's like bottom of the barrel R&B pop star. But he's not even do pop. He doesn't even do R&B. He does like dance pop. But I'm like, child, I would take Flo Rida over him. And I don't even like Flo Rida. Flo Rida's another one that put out generic dance pop music. Now they said Brian Kelly kissed my boots. I don't know who that is. I'm gathering he's country, so let's move on. Then they said Megan Trainor featuring T-Pain, been like this. And it's funny, she performed this song at Jingle Ball, and I was like, it's a bop, but they up in here trashing it. So let's read what they had to say. So they said Megan Trainor has high highs and even lower lows in her discography, from her soaring Let You Be Right to The Bumbling Mother. Been Like This, the T-Pain assisted single from her latest record, Timeless, isn't offensively awful, but it lacks the depth and soul of her speakeasy music that she channels here. A flapper she isn't, and Been Like This feels like a factory-made peon, or peon, I don't know how to say that word, to 1920s aesthetics, coated in a highly auto-tuned sheen. But to be fair, there's something to be said about even the most grating Trainor songs. Even if she feels like an AI monstrosity, they compare everything to AI. Well, maybe a lot of artists are relying on AI to create these songs at this point. They said you have to admit that she has a sincerity to carry it. And the one thing I be hating about a lot of these blogs or these trade type things like the variety and stuff, it's like, don't be trying to be cute with the y'all be trying to look up certain words in the thesaurus so they can make y'all sound smarter than y'all actually are. So yes, those are the worst songs that they compiled of 2024. And I ask you this: some of them I was agreeing with. There was some I was like, I don't know them. I don't know her in the words of Mariah Carey. And some I was like, yeah, I definitely agree. So I say all this to say, what do you think of this story? I want to know y'all worst songs of 2024 as well as y'all worst albums of 2024. And funny, they said Katy Perry, they put Woman's World up in there. I'm gonna put 143 as her worst album. I'm also gonna put Camila Cabello's CXOXO as one of the worst albums of 2024. So, and those are the only two I could think of off the top of my head. I was like, oh no, these records is trash, and I couldn't get through. So I definitely want to hear from you all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments down below. Speaking of comments, let's get to some of them. Cleveland says, will Jay-Z's situation affect Beyonce's chances at the Grammys? That was something that I was wondering when I was talking about Jay-Z earlier and him talking about the whole Grammy people who I guess have been overlooking his wife when he gave his little speech last year, and Beyonce looked like she was none too pleased. But I was like, okay, I don't need you to be saying all of this and making my chances bad for me. So when I actually want to get this AOTY award, that you making the comments, and I'm sure there was some truth in what he said, but you verbalizing it, it kind of makes her look bad. So now people are like, oh, this heifer thing, like he could just bully us and strong arm us into giving her out AOTY, even if she probably deserves it. But some of the people that's on this AOTY list for the Grammys, it's gonna be a tough one on who should get it. I mean, I'm sure people are going to be like, well, it should go to Taylor, even though Taylor has enough. But Taylor was out here working her ass off, pushing that torch of Pover's department. So on the strength of that, I could see her winning. But also, I would like to see Brat get it because, if anybody had the biggest glow up this year, it was Charli XCX. And so I remember when Katie first started teasing the era, we were all excited thinking she would do something experimental. Exactly. It was like the visuals was giving experimental. But then we heard the songs. I'm like, the visuals aren't matching what you was giving with them sonically. So no, I'm not feeling it. Tom McDonald made a No Lives Matter song and also speaks about American politics a lot, despite being born in Canada. Think Kid Rock if he was a millennial. A mess. Another grifter. Worst song, anything Gwen Stefani and Katie. Oh yeah, that was another one. Bouquet. We could add that to the list of worst albums of 2024. And I'm like, sis, who is this lady? And what have you done with Gwen? That's a pod person. Drowned by JT oh my God, I totally forgot. We got to add those lists. We got to add Justin Timberlake album. What was the name of that album? Everything I Thought It Was. And Jennifer Lopez with This Is Me Never. That record that album was a mess. And yeah, they should have added those songs. But I will go with albums. We could add that in the album category. They put out two of the worst. Them two put out one of the worst albums of 2024 too. I almost forgot Jennifer Lopez put out an album, and we've been talking about her to death on this show this season. Worst songs, yes, and The Boy Is Mine, but with Ariana Grande. Yeah, I didn't like that version either. I wanted to get into it. I was like, okay, what's a given? And I don't care. You could put Brandy and Monica on the song. That don't make the song great. It doesn't hold a candle to the original. And I didn't like that version of what Ariana did. Worse on Yes and The Boy Is Mine with Ariana Grande and Mariah Carey for Brandy and Monica. Katy Perry and Camila Cabello. Worst album 143 and 1432. Worst music acts of 2024. Ariana Grande and Katy Perry. Ciao. Well, there's that. And that's also the end of today's show. So I want to thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please, if you have not already, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. There will be timestamps put in throughout the show later on, so that way if you want to get bypass all the talkation that we do on the show and get to the topics, excuse me, you can definitely do that later on when I get to it. Tomorrow is Christmas, so for those of you, have a happy holiday. I'm gonna try to see if there's anything going on, in celebrity news and gossip. If there's nothing going on, I mean, if there's stuff going on, I might come on and do a Friday show. If not, then I'll just see y'all next week. So I'm gonna just probably take a couple of days off if it's dry out in these streets. I'm gonna be working on my best. I already started working on it actually, but I put it in the draft, so I'm going to get to it, and we'll do that next week as a show. So I'm going to do best. I already got my list of best movies of 2024. I got to start finishing up on that. I already got my list of best horror films of 2024 that I'm putting together. So we can go through that on the show. Also, I got to put together most anticipated movies of 2024, and I got to look into, because I don't even know who's coming out with music next year except Madonna. She's the only one I know that's coming out with an album, I think. So most anticipated albums of 2020, I said 2024, 2025, because 2024 is about to be over next week. So I definitely want to get into that. And then as a clash, I can come in and give y'all top 5 or top whatever horror movies and things of that nature. And we'll talk about it on one of the slow shows. So when there's nothing going on, we'll just play into that'll be like a separate show, whatever the case is. So that way y'all can come in and give y'all faves in regards to like best albums. Or we did best albums, best movie, best horror movie, most anticipated albums of 2025, all that good stuff. So yes. We said happy holidays, everyone, and Chris, same to you. Share my top 5 horror films. Well, I don't know your top 5 horror films. But yeah, save it for the next show. And I mean, I do know like some of them. I know you are a huge Smile 2 fan. You love Terrifier 3 because we've had those conversations. And those 2 are on my list, among others. Oh yeah, so Madonna's got an album coming out. Kim Wilde didn't know was coming out of the album. Tate McRae is coming out with an album because she's doing Madison Square Garden the day after my birthday. So she's supposed to be doing a show at Madison Square Garden on September 3rd with Zara Larsson as the opening act. So I'm really hoping I get to work that event because I definitely want to be there for that. But yeah, so I'm compiling all that together so that way when it comes down to it, we can actually do a show, and Kiki is a family on it. So yes, love you all for watching. Please, as I said before, hit the like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell. And love you all for watching. And until next time, ciao, darlings.